I've come down here, and this board, my board, is over there. So stop stealing my skateboard.
I'm not stealing your skateboard, bro.
Dude, you're stealing my skateboard.
No. I borrowed your skateboard.
Oh, okay.
I borrowed it. I got my own skateboards over here.
Yeah, exactly. You got your own board. Stop.
What is this?
Stop borrowing my stuff. All right.
Borrowing your stuff?
I mean, you did get me this.
This is a strong start.
Yeah.
But.
This is a strong start.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah.
Well, good. For the record, everyone knows he's been stealing my board. It's my board.
He's been borrowing the skateboard.
While you're on your rants about whatever you're ranting about, I do little kickflips over here.
It's
So
true.
I've been stealing
So
Adam's
stop taking
fingerboard.
it.
Yeah,
You got
man.
your own. You got like 3 of them there.
I do.
It's true.
Yeah, but that one's better.
I know.
That's better.
For some
Because
reason,
I know
that
how to
one's
grip a
better.
board.
You do. That's right.
yeah,
Yep.
that's
I gripped
true.
mine terribly. The other one's over there.
Dude, I looked at yours. It's sloppy.
No, this is just I slept on a regular tech deck.
Yeah, sloppy.
Look at those over there. The 2 over there are good, but that's where the half pipe's at.
Why wouldn't you have the half pipe over here?
I'm gonna put a half pipe up here.
What is happening?
So we have
Okay.
fingerboards, and Adam was like, "Hey man, you're stealing my board."
Yeah.
All right, welcome
Oh,
to the
they
show.
heard. They heard.
This is apparently a podcast. We don't plan anything out, as you can obviously tell.
Welcome to our studio.
Man, this is a crazy story.
This is important stuff.
We got a bunch of stories. The Second Amendment has been renewed completely.
Yes.
Every liberal in the country now has like shut up, and a lot of them have changed their story. The craziest thing was I saw this meme where a guy was like, the Karen from my block who's constantly trying to organize gun control protests just tried to organize a community watch, like to pitch in money to like hire armed security.
Wow.
Yep. There's a video from Long Island, I think.
Oh, how the UFO spins.
Oh, how the UFO.
See what I did there?
It does.
Do you,
Oh, yeah.
do you see what I did?
Yep, you
Indeed,
did.
How the
indeed.
world spins.
Yeah,
but
the world spinning too.
The
UFO.
UFOs, they're
So,
both
but
spinning.
this is interesting. This is the lead we're going to be talking about. A Black Lives Matter leader who I've talked about as I think he's a cool dude, Hank Newsom, said they want essentially armed community patrols. And I was thinking about this because I know a lot of people take it to a dark place immediately, and I'm like, I don't think it's a dark place.
I'm 100% with you.
But we'll get to this.
Yeah.
Right? People taking responsibility for their own safety, their own communities.
Yeah.
I like
Arming
that.
themselves and stuff, being responsible.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, but we got a lot to talk about. So if you're just tuning in, this is the TimcastIRL show.
Yes.
I'm hanging out with my friends here.
Oh, you know me. What's up, everybody?
There's
It's Adam. Adam
There's
Krigman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Lydia. Sour Patch Lids.
That's Lydia.
How's it going?
Sour Patch
Indeed.
Ladies.
Indeed.
Smash the like button.
Yes.
Smash it, or tap it. We were just in a tornado. No
Okay,
joke.
well.
We got the alarms like 15 minutes ago.
It came
And
and
it-
it went.
It was crazy because it's kind of bright out right now, and I was sitting here, and I guess Lydia's phone made a noise
Yeah,
or
well, I
whatever,
saw it lit up.
and then it was like tornado warning, seek shelter now, and we were all like, well, but we got to do the show, so we just took care of some stuff, and then
Right.
came back, and the sky turned almost pitch black.
Yeah,
You
it got
couldn't see
dark
anything
quick.
outside. There was a rumble and a roar, and then like 20 minutes later, now
It's not even raining anymore.
not
I
even
don't hear-
raining anymore. Yeah, it's gone. So
It's
that was
raining a
fun.
little bit,
It's a
yeah.
slight drizzle.
It's nothing.
So we were kind of worried about that, but hey, we're all good. So here's what you can do. You can smash the like button because it really does help. Subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Share.
I like
Share
this.
it.
Share
with all of your
it. Share.
friends.
I just shared it.
Sharing.
I
is
think-
caring. Adam
I
did it.
spread
I
the
gotta,
word.
Look at
I gotta
that.
be honest, man. We had a really big show. We were out yesterday because I had a really bad sore throat.
Yeah.
For real. And so I was, and it's not worth risking losing 5 shows just to take a night off.
Truth.
But the night before was our biggest night ever.
It was.
And I gotta say, I think it's because you guys share that it really
I
does
think
help.
so too.
Yeah,
So
we-
we're here to say thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks,
You guys are fantastic.
Appreciate it.
You're the bombs.
You know what? I'm gonna spin the UFO for you.
oh,
Can we get it? Can we get the wide shot?
Yeah, there we
Let's,
go. We got to move the. Can we? Yeah. Okay.
This is for everybody.
There we go. Free UFO spin.
Yes. So what you're hearing, if you're hearing it, it's probably faint. The air,
For you,
the air
everybody.
cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we need to charge that thing. We're not gonna be able to spin it.
Man, that
Consider
thing
it
looks
spun.
good. It
That
is
thing's
good.
been levitating nonstop for like a couple weeks now. It hasn't come off.
Yeah, that's a good
has,
point.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to get your super chat in, I've got to warn you right now that on that Monday we had this really big show. YouTube literally erased the super chats from our studio
Yep.
because there were too many. I didn't know that was even possible.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
then in order to try and even read all of them, it's impossible. And normally we speed things up. So just keep in mind, if you do super chat, we might not get to your super chats. We will try our best. But at a certain point, we just start going through it. And it is what it is. But we got a bunch of stories, man. I'm losing my mind on this stuff
Yeah.
because they told us we couldn't go outside. We still can't go outside. The other day, I was like, do we have Nesquik? I want a Nesquik.
Yeah.
So when's the last time you had some of that? long time.
I don't even remember.
But isn't it? It's
A
better.
kid.
It's better than regular chocolate milk. It's got vitamins in it too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's fortified.
So
Okay.
I'm sitting there, and I can't remember what happened. I think we had like I was eating peanut butter and jelly, and the store's closed.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What do you mean? The store's closed? Curfew? Yeah, we're under curfew still."
Yeah, Walmart was closed.
Walmart was closed, and I'm like, I don't understand why I can't go out and buy chocolate milk right now, because everyone's out protesting in this in this state.
Yeah.
We're in Jersey, up in Newark, and my mind is blown. And then I see these photos going viral of nurses celebrating and cheering, and I'm like, the nurses were just blocking the cars of other protesters when they were protesting the lockdown.
Wrong
Right.
kind of protest, Tim.
Yep, wrong kind of people. So I'm losing my mind over this, man. How we're in this position where all of a sudden now it's coming out. The New York Times is saying, you know, about that study that said hydroxychloroquine wasn't safe and Trump was wrong. The thing is, it's probably not real.
They don't want to say it too loud because they don't want to admit Trump was right.
Why
say
did
it.
the media come out and say this drug was unsafe? And now as soon as they start lifting the lockdown and the protests are out, they're like, oh, it's safe again.
Because people take it.
That's melting my brain.
Yeah, people take it for other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about this
so what,
later,
a
right?
study came out just to go after Trump?
I have no idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
okay.
Yeah.
But I really want to talk about
I got some
guns.
things to
Yes,
say, but
okay.
I'll wait until,
I wanna talk about
until the
guns.
subject.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, let's talk about guns.
All right, Alex.
Let's get started with this
Go.
first. Alex.
Yes.
Today we're talking about guns, people. We are prepared to stop these murders by any means necessary. Black Lives Matter leader declares war on police and group is, quote, training our people to defend our communities in Black Panther-styled armed patrols. That was a bold statement. I read that. I was like, declare war. I mean, it sounds kind of scary, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Well,
I'm like, what's so hold on. You mean to tell me this dude, Hank Newsom, is saying in his community, he wants to keep their community safe,
Yep.
exercise his legal rights. I
don't see
I
any
don't-
issue
and,
with
I
that.
don't see the story there.
and give people in their community a purpose. You know,
Yep.
they
Yeah.
have something to
Something
get
to
up for.
defend.
Be like, you know what? I'm patrolling the neighborhood, keeping it safe today. I feel good.
Yeah.
What
Because
I
I'm
d-
doing something for my community. That's awesome. I love it.
I don't like this though, declaring war. It's like, bro, don't
Yeah, and the police, when we see black people getting killed right now and their business is being destroyed right now
By looters,
well,
yeah.
right. But
by who knows who, but it's like, but they're not bringing those up. Why aren't they talking about
you
that?
see that sassy woman who was like, you said Black Lives Matter, but what about my store? What about me? And
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But what I mean with this is, you've got a guy who is Hank Newsom, activist, law-abiding citizen, apparently gun owner, I guess.
I imagine.
All legal things.
Yep.
And they're saying they use the language declaring war on police because it's a shock sensational title. And
True.
I'm like, come on.
Did he
come on.
even say that though?
Probably not, but
Because
we'll read it because
Alex Jones said that's what Joe Rogan said. He's
Yeah.
gonna
Because-
he's
right.
bringing the war to, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
that never
think-
happened. It's being embellished. And
I-
this is the mainstream media we're talking about.
and
So
I think it's fair, if you want to be like, yeah. But this one's like not the time because he's talking about arming his community. And if you say he's declaring war on the police while arming his community, it sounds like people are going to go march to the police department with guns. And that's not what he's
Right.
talking about. He's talking about Black Panther style community patrols. They say in an exclusive interview, Newsom says the BLM movement has marched for years to wake people up to the realities of police brutality and oppression. And he believes that since the tragic death of George Floyd, who died after his neck was pinned under the knee of a white police officer during an arrest on Memorial Day, people have finally awoken. It's our obligation, it's our duty to provide people with a pathway forward. And that's the purpose you were talking about. Dude, I actually am really optimistic about this. Here's a quote, we want liberation. We want the power to determine our own destiny. We want freedom from an oppressive government. And we want the immediate end of government-sanctioned murder by the police. I'm like,
awesome.
that sounds very, very
Yeah.
1776 of you, brother.
Yeah, I'm loving
that's,
it.
that's all good things.
Yeah, right?
Agreed.
So he says, we're preparing and training our people to defend our communities. Now, what does that mean? I do fear there's going to be anti-police conflict or sentiment, but I also believe if you have, there was a group called Legally Armed in Detroit, I think it was,
Yeah.
standing on the steps of the Capitol, firearms trainers, and they had no problems. I think if you have, look, man, if you have armed community patrol groups,
Okay.
you got to do a lot more than just train people and give them guns. You let the police know, like, hey, here's who we are, here's what we're doing, give us a call. We want to make sure we're taking care of things. Here's the good thing about it. I'm right now, we are seeing in polls, I can't remember which polling group this was, support for Black Lives Matter through the roof. skyrocketing. Even among Republicans, it's way up, and it's really low among Republicans. And I'm like, this is all good. It's all good because here's what I thought about this, and I'm seeing all the tribalist stupidity on Twitter.
Okay.
And what they're talking about is they're like, they showed a clip of like black people marching with guns, and they did this like, haha, you know, white conservatives, look what we're doing. And I'm like, I'm sure they're happy you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what they've been arguing for this whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I started thinking about it.
Good point.
They were saying, you know, I'm thinking like, what is the outcome of this going to be? They're demanding police reforms, and I'm like, I'm down with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
You know, I think how it's done is important, but it can be done as a good thing. You look at, you know, what's going on with a lot of these stories that are coming out. I don't like how it goes to a racial place because I grew up on the south side of Chicago, man. I know poor people who've been affected by, you know, police misconduct or whatever. But I think about what's coming out of this, and you've got calls for more accountability. I dig it.
Yep.
You've got liberals buying guns like crazy. And I'm like, you know what? I dig it. If people take responsibility for themselves. Now, there is a concern. So I'll let everybody know. I went today. I'm taking care of business to get set up,
yeah,
to
me
get everything
too.
I need to get.
Yep.
And I'm not going to get too specific on, you know, what I've done so far because I don't, you know, my business is, that's my private security. But I'll just say I was talking to a guy involved in the process who said he's concerned about a lot of untrained people who've been buying up guns like crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense.
So he was like, make sure you do the right thing, man. And he gave me a bunch of advice and stuff. And I'm like, I got it. You know, I hear you, bro. I actually have done a police academy training. So they walk you up with all the different guns and stuff. And so, but I'm far from an expert. But there is a concern about that. But I'm thinking about what he's talking about. I think it would be actually great to see these communities have purpose, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Now there's responsibility for these young people. Now when there's problems, they have to hold their own accountable. And I mean like people who live in their neighborhood. I'm not talking about a race thing.
It's not like they're just going to be walking around and letting people do, you know, illegal things that are frowned upon by general society. You know, I'm just kind of put a blanket term out there, but it's not just going to be the police that they're going to be holding accountable. They're going to be standing there holding everyone accountable, you know? So and
Exactly.
yeah, it's just going to raise the level of everyone being
Dude, this is great.
Yeah, I agree.
awesome.
It's awesome. And this is what everybody needs.
Think about this. Let's say you live in a neighborhood and one day some kid is robbing a house and you have community policing.
Yep.
The people know who the cop is. The cop is a part of the community or even a neighborhood watch. And they see Billy Johnson's kid robbing it. So then they tell the neighbors, everybody knows, everybody hears, everybody gets pissed off.
Yep.
And they go to Billy Johnson. And they're like, your kid, I caught him.
Yep.
And everyone, and they're like, I'll stop it. It'll never happen again. Because now there's real concern about being ostracized by their neighbors and their community. And there's a real connection. You also have the people engaging in community watch. They have responsibility to the community too.
Yep.
Imagine if like, you know, when we were talking about the Atlas gym, for those that aren't familiar, there's a gym nearby to where we live. Big national story because they were trying to reopen during the lockdown. The governor threatened them. They came, they were ticketing people and arrested one guy for not, you know, showing his ID. And I'm thinking about, they brought in police from outside the city because the local cops wouldn't do it.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, they didn't want to be shunned by the
Right.
people who live around. It's like that's the opposite of what we need.
Yeah.
So there are challenges with like what happens when someone from one community comes to the other community, and then you treat them like normal. I think if these people are going to take care of their own neighborhoods, more importantly, like giving purpose to people to be responsible for the upholding and defense of their community, I'm imagining what happens when, you know, we see a lot of videos going around right now of looting and stuff in New York. What would happen if these people got caught by their own neighbors? You ever see that video? This is hilarious, of a mom catching her son at a riot.
Oh yeah, in 2017.
Yeah, where was that?
remember. So that I think that was at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yep. She caught her.
And
she got her
was
kid
she like hitting him with her purse?
slipper, I think.
Yeah, she's hitting him with
Oh
The
my
classic.
goodness.
Yeah,
Yes.
like what are you doing? He's like, I'm sorry, mom. I'm sorry, mom. That's the kind of connection we need.
And they're, you know what I find interesting? They're calling for, you know, defund the police. And it's like, well, we kind of need the police. We need the police. You know, there's
Right.
good police out there. But if this is what they're going to plan on doing, we won't need as many police. So it's kind of a win-win for them to actually mobilize and start
This is like-
protecting their neighborhoods. Like,
You know-
that's awesome.
Dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is like a huge conservative/libertarian victory in some regards
Yeah,
of like the shrinking
many
of,
regards.
of government powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been the writing's been bad. The
Yeah.
tribalism's been really bad.
Definitely.
It's really, really annoying how the tribalism is functioning through this, especially when I think one of the most just heartbreaking things for me to watch very early on,
Yeah.
where I'm seeing all of these conservatives, even Rush Limbaugh, being like, I'm heartbroken by watching this video of George Floyd. And I'm like, we've done it, everyone.
Yes.
We are all united.
We're all
our
actually
outrage.
united.
Yeah.
And then
So let's riot and tear everything down.
Seriously,
Yeah, right.
why?
It's like-
But we're all with everybody.
same
We all
page.
agree here.
And then when a lot of conservatives started pointing out like this rioting is bad, they got attacked for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, dude, we were ready to hold hands under the rainbow, man.
It's like
that's
there's
the dream. Isn't
There's
it?
someone
Yeah.
out there that hates that. They don't
Yeah.
want us together. They want to split us up. Everything I'm reading is either people fighting to be like, let's stay together, or if you're not on my side, you're over there and you're the enemy. So let's divide further and keep us all separated.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone together. It's like, no. That is a problem. And I'm seeing it too much. Even friends of mine are saying it's like, that's the issue. All these other people, it's like everyone was a COVID expert. Now they're like a civil
Yeah,
rights experts.
expert
And it's
of the
like,
day.
no,
Yeah.
you can't just say this is the answer. There's so many different things that we need to think about, but we all need to be accountable. These cops are being held accountable. Awesome. It's good.
Adam, are you saying it's complicated?
Yes.
I think I know what you really mean.
Did I just say a Tim?
But this is the point. I
Yeah.
think there's a famous
Feels
quote
good.
about the stupid people find simplicity and the intelligent people find the complexity or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But I think what you're really saying is that there's some kind of force driving people apart, making us hate each other.
Yeah.
China.
China.
Jada.
That's what it is,
Honestly, though,
China.
that's I have seen enough random things. Some people have posted some random stuff about it, and it's like, it's not that far fetched. Who has
I'm
a lot
kidding,
to gain?
by the way.
Yeah,
I know
I
you're
know, yeah.
you were joking, but I'm
Half joking.
I'm gonna go ahead and say the conspiracy of it. It's like we were already intense, like we weren't at war, but like
Trade war.
It's tense. Yeah, we're in a trade war with them, yes,
Right.
but I mean, man, they have some issues with us, and they've already they're making fun of us. They're straight up going on
So
their
is Iran,
news,
yeah.
making fun of us, and it's like we were already worried with a war with China. It's like, why wouldn't they want us to destroy each other and be separated and fight each other until we're like, a mess, and then they push
Look
the button.
what COVID did.
Right.
Right, our aircraft carriers get infected, have to be
Seriously.
cleaned out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they want us off base. So it's been look, man, it's been decades of favorable treatment for China.
Yep.
All our politicians and leaders have been doing all these really great and beautiful, nice things for them.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, Trump's pulling the rug out from under them.
Yeah. Trump's like, no more China. No. America.
America
Yeah.
first.
Well,
like-
let's save. Let's put a tack.
Yeah,
in,
we're
and
spinning. We're
Right,
spiraling.
right.
We're spiraling.
Right.
I
Out of
want to keep it
control.
to.
I mean, as I said, it's complicated.
It isn't.
we got to keep it to guns.
complicated.
we got to keep it to guns.
Okay.
So
Okay.
check this out. You guys may have seen this story.
Spicy.
It is the Second Amendment has never been stronger. I think we're going to see the crushing of a lot of these laws.
Yep.
Maybe I'm being a bit, I don't know,
Hyperbolic.
optimistic in like what's to come.
Tim being hyperbolic? What? No.
But look at this story. Florida sheriff to looters. I'm advising armed homeowners to blow you back out of their house with their guns. You want to know something funny?
Well, technically, he was advising anyone who wanted to go into those neighborhoods.
Fair warning.
He was
right?
warning
Yeah.
them.
There's this tweet, and I love it. And it's a picture of 3 men on a rooftop with AR-15s.
Okay.
And it says, "Heads up! There's men armed with guns on the top of these roofs. Don't go to this place."
Yes.
And I was like, "You have just proven the point of why they're on the roof with guns.
That's the whole point.
The protesters who are marching around, these guys went up on the roof to protect the business, and then the social media says, "Don't go that way. Don't go that way. They have guns."
Yep.
It's like, there you go. Point proven.
So now, once
point
there's guns
proven.
everywhere, protests will be peaceful.
I think there is there is a good point to be made in the fact that accidental deaths will probably go up. Like the guy was telling me earlier, he's really scared about a bunch of untrained people now getting armed.
Yep. Agreed.
It's fair, man. Let me tell you the story that I read once. So I actually went to this gun rights thing in Chicago a long time ago.
Okay.
It's a very famous woman who told the story about how I'm gonna miss the details, but I know all you guys probably know this one. She was apparently Texas passed a law saying you couldn't bring a gun or something into a restaurant or something like this. She lives in
Okay.
her car.
Okay.
She goes in and she was eating dinner or something when a shooting happened, and she had
In the restaurant.
yeah, and
Okay.
so she was like, "My gun is right there. I can't do anything about it." So it's apparently she's a very famous advocates, campaigner and everything. And I was in Chicago skating around or something, and I can't remember exactly why. As my friend worked at the Thompson Center, I think it was.
Okay.
And is that what it's called? I think it is. My friend worked there, and so I was hanging out and I saw it, and I thought it was an interesting story. I didn't really think much of it, but someone there told me the story about the concerns of rapid escalation, and they told me a story about there was a car accident, a fender bender. Somebody accidentally rear-ended somebody else. Apparently, the guy who got rear-ended was livid.
Ooh.
Gets out of his car, freaking out, like, "You a moron! What are you doing?" Yelling, and he's strapped. He's got his gun in his holster.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy getting out of his car, who rear-ended him, was like anxiety super high, flustered because this guy's yelling.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the guy get out with his gun, and he puts his hand down by his hip and puts his hand up, saying stop, because this guy's freaking out. When the guy in front sees him put his hand near his hip, the other guy reaches for his. Then the guy in the back thought he was drawing for it, so he pulls his out, and they both pulled him out and started shooting at each other.
Oh my gosh.
It's a story someone told me.
Okay.
They told me it was the fear.
Well,
of,
true or not, though, that definitely shows, escalation in its truest form.
But this person
When it's emotional,
Right.
red-eyed, you can't see anything except anger. We're humans. That can happen to anyone, even the most peaceful person. Something can trigger that.
Yep.
We don't know until we're there.
So this person who was telling me this was apparently like part of the rally. They were like pro 2A, and they were just saying like, that's why training and right, being
Huge.
smart. But the point they're bringing up is, I guess like the gist of what they were getting at was we're having a conversation about these things happen. You can't run from them. You can't try and stop every single person because sometimes these things happen, and we recognize these things happen. Imagine you've got a hole springing in the bottom of a ship.
Okay.
It's like, well, yeah, sometimes that happens. You patch it up. You can't literally stop it from happening, so it never happens. So imagine you have a boat, you keep reinforcing the hull, and you've got 87 layers. You're like, now it will never spring a leak, and then you sink.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to recognize that. Or I'll put it this way: there was a story about like a mass shooting in Europe, and the response from the local government, from the country, I can't remember which one it was. It might have been Denmark. They were just like, sad. Moving on. What are you going to do? In America, something bad happens, we immediately say we need a new law.
Do we really, though?
We need a new law, and it's
Yeah.
like, but it was already illegal.
Yeah.
So then they try and ban cosmetics and stuff, and it starts getting out of hand. And now it's like, I was talking to somebody who's from Europe, telling me that I should get a gun, and I was like, I'm taking care of everything. And they said to get an AR-15, and I was like, well, yeah, but there's like a bunch of laws specifically targeting that weapon. And I was like, I think there are variants that are functionally equivalent that I can look into with different names that have bypassed these weird cosmetic assault laws or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they asked me about like getting a machine gun or something. And I was like, those are completely illegal.
And
Yeah.
they've been
You
illegal
can't even
since
do
the
it.
80s.
And I was like, look, it is a weird, circuitous, complicated. I've no, like when I'm filling out these forms, I'm like, what is this? What is that? What is this? There's like all these weird things on it. Like New Jersey doesn't make it easy,
Yeah.
and it still takes a long time. But I was explaining to them, a lot of Europeans think that in the U.S. everyone's got like a belt-fed, like World War II style, like
Man, I wish.
crazy machine gun.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's people out there that probably have them that we don't know about. But
Well, for sure, but not everyone.
check
yeah.
the story out. Check this out.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
This is the past 3 months?
6 million guns sold in 3 days.
No, 3 months.
In 3 months.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, that's a lot.
Now, that'd be very different. That'd be worrying.
I'm like, wait, is this the same article that we're reading here?
Yeah.
6 million guns sold in 3 months.
Wow.
I was zoning out on that one. Yeah, it was like 1.7 million sold in May, which is a record apparently.
Wow.
And 40% are first-time gun buyers.
40%.
40%.
That's a lot of armed
half.
liberals. I'm almost afraid.
I
Well,
know.
now listen.
Gotta get
listen.
trained.
Let's talk about the scary part.
What's the scary part?
I mean, we're dealing with the cusp of a civil war. There's the possibility that we de-escalate, but all we've ever seen is escalation, and no sign that anyone wants to give up. Like Nancy Pelosi, she's out marching in the protest right now, apparently. But
Oh my
but
gosh.
what?
That's
Our
ridiculous.
businesses can't reopen.
Nah,
They
it's a lie.
don't care.
It's
They
it's
flaunt
all
the rules.
They're just taking advantage.
Yeah.
But that's
Absolutely.
another subject at hand, though, right? We're gonna go into the COVID side of things later, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, I'm sure we should do that now.
before we
No?
move on, I want to talk about this Black Lives Matter being armed, because I feel like no one's really talking about David Dorn, and he got shot and just protecting his own business.
No, it was his friend's business.
Or he worked there, I think, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's his friend's business. We see all these businesses being destroyed that are actually, black members of the community that are their lives are being ruined now because of people that are marching for George Floyd. If they did what they're planning on doing, and they had these armed community militias essentially that are protecting their own communities, a lot of that wouldn't happen anymore.
I have to wonder about, they often say who benefits.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of
Always
conspiracy
the
theorists.
question.
Who benefits from this?
Right.
Key bono. Alex Jones liked to say it. Or I don't know if he still does. I don't watch his show. But it's a good question because you look at what's happening with all these riots, and you have the rapper, I think his name is like Dream or something.
Okay.
You've got Killer Mike. You got people in Atlanta, which is like majority black businesses. I don't think it's majority, but a very, very large proportion relative to other parts of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going around, they're burning things and burning things down. And who benefits the most from all the destruction in black communities? This is stopping the transfer of generational wealth. It's like you've got people who have been, right. Historically come from oppression. And now through the civil rights and everything, we've made tremendous strides to solving a lot of these issues. And now we have, the first black president, Barack Obama.
Yep.
A lot of great things have come. A lot of great things are to come. And there's a lot of things we got to solve. One of the things that's going to help with equality is the transfer of generational wealth. But if you look at these communities, you can see these riots break out, destroying their businesses and their livelihoods.
Yep.
And then it's crazy because when that rapper came out and said, dude, why are you destroying our businesses?
Mm-hmm.
They attacked him for it.
Why?
Who benefits,
See,
man?
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I have to imagine.
Who are they fighting then,
I have to imagine every regular American would love the idea of any other American, regardless of race, seeing prosperity and living the American dream.
Absolutely. I know I do.
But that's how we got to this point. From people finally being like, do your thing.
Like that woman who was yelling in the streets, like, yeah, I'm black and I'm not oppressed. I live in a country where if you have the ability to do something, you go out and do it. And I'm proof of that. And then that white girl is like, no, you're oppressed. And she's like, no, I'm not oppressed.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, I'm
care.
not oppressed.
Dude.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's a boss right
But
there.
I mean, look at Candace Owens, for instance. Successful. I'm assuming she's well off.
I would think so.
money-wise.
Right.
And she says similar things. You know what, man? I call it's like Asian and Asian mixed people are Heisenberg's uncertainty people of color,
Okay.
or Schrodinger's people of color. So I first called it Schrodinger's people of color because you are or you aren't, depending on which opinion you take.
Okay.
And then someone said, no, it's the Heisenberg uncertainty. So basically what happens is, for me, if I say to one of these people, I agree with you, then all of a sudden now they respect my family and, my history and everything. If I say, I'm not oppressed, I disagree with you, they say, oh, because you're white.
Right.
So that woman, it just becomes a weird cognitive dissonance, mind break thing.
Yep.
There's a really crazy video where there's a black cop. He's older.
Yeah.
And there's a 20-year-old white college girl she says, why are you supporting white supremacy or something? He's like, what? I'm a cop. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And she said the police are racist. And he was like, what? And she was like, yes, you're being oppressed. And he was like, I grew up during civil rights. What are you talking about, little white
man.
girl?
But that's what they believe. That's the narrative that has they can't look at anything else because then their beliefs will change.
Yeah.
It's funny. I see like we when you think of millennial, what does a millennial look like to you? Think about that. So that's fine. Hold that in your head. You don't have to answer it. But then you think about why we're complaining about millennials. It's like the people that feel entitled, that feel like they are owed stuff and they don't have to work for it.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
really familiar right now because a lot of people are it feels like it's the same argument right now. Like, why can't we just get stuff for free?
Yep.
It's like, and it's not a race issue. That's the problem. It's not has nothing to do with race.
Listen.
It's all about, the society has just fed it to us that we are owed stuff. And it's like, we're not. You got to go out and get it. You got to earn it.
I have 7 words for you.
Go on. What is it?
Gooble gobble. Google gobble.
Uh-huh.
One of us.
Go on. Yes, okay.
Ah, okay.
It all
you
makes
guys-
sense now.
I understood the last 3 words. I'll
Do
be
you,
honest.
do you know the reference to that?
No, I have no idea what that means.
I don't know the actual name of the film, but it's basically like a bunch of circus freaks.
Okay.
And a woman sits down with them, and they go, Google gobble, one of us, one of us. Look at this video.
Oh my gosh.
No, but this is relevant to what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, let's see
You
it.
may have seen this
Oh,
video
this. God, this video.
where all of these people,
No.
bro, this is praying. Look at this. Let me, I'm going to play this for you guys. And you're going to be unhappy that I did, but it's important that you hear it, so I hope you're ready.
Anti-blackness or violence. I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible. And do everything in my power to educate my community. I will love my black neighbors the same as my white ones. About race.
Here's
our neighbors are black, and they're so nice.
Yeah, they're great.
And you know what? Our other neighbors, they're not, and they're also nice. I have friends that are all sorts of races, and they're all nice people. Like I just don't. He could have just spoke all these words, and everyone would have been like, word. Makes sense.
The point I bring up is what you just watched was a cult building exercise.
Seems
I'm not exaggerating.
No, I
It's
agree.
literally what many cults will do to reinforce ideas is to make you repeat it. So I grew up with a lot of hacker friends. I used to program some stuff and I would make little video games, very minor, but ultimately got more into the social engineering side of the hacker community, which is they call human hacking. I ultimately ended up working for nonprofits where I would, hey, come over here and sign up for Greenpeace, because understanding how the human mind works, I was one of the best in the nation for numerous nonprofits signing up new members. Ultimately quit because I realized they were lying about it so much. Like, so much of this stuff is so evil. And I thought I was going to do good, right? But I see this stuff. And getting someone to repeat something is an anchoring technique. It's like you make them believe it by saying it.
Yeah, okay.
Even if you tell them, like, repeat after me. I said, X, Y, and Z. It anchors it. It really helps reinforce that. These are all white people. Worst of all, they're all people who are white, who are like supposedly anti-racist.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up in the context of what we were just talking about before is that these people are impossible to talk to because they've been indoctrinated, and you can't really break them out. I guess it's where the red pill meme kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You wake up to reality because you're one of these people sitting there with listen, man, I sent this video to my friends, and I was like, with no comment, here's the video.
Yeah.
And I got crazy defense of it. No, they're just it's the people's mic, you know what the people's mic is?
Where you say something, they respond.
That way everyone can hear it.
Right.
Because everyone says it. And I'm like, no, that's when you're giving out information. This is like describing internal action. Oh, well, I mean, tons of groups do this. And I'm like, no.
This is a bunch of people that already believe all this stuff.
Right.
So them sitting in a circle telling each other how not racist they are. Who is that helping? You know, it's like it's being spread around, and now everyone's like, whoa, that's a cult. That's very culty.
I'm glad they did it.
Or the blackout thing on yesterday's Instagram. It's like everyone who follows everybody already. It's already the circles. The circles are already kind of closed. So they're all just showing each other how virtuous they are.
Yes.
Like, look at this. Look how anti-racist I am.
Bro, one of us.
Yeah.
Google gobble.
Google gobble.
Seeing, my eyes were rolling so hard when I saw all of the blackout squares.
Yeah.
That I swear I could have generated a ton of electricity if I hooked it up to a cable. My eyes were spinning like crazy.
You mean hooked it up to the beanie?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what you,
I'm scrolling through and I'm like, these people are all morons. You posted it, I think, the
Yeah.
Ralph Wiggum one.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
I'm
best
helping.
one. I'm helping.
I know. I saw
You
that.
saw it?
Yeah, I saw her.
I'm helping.
I saw her post.
And so I posted this. I'm not joining your cult. And I sent that to some friends, and they were like trying to defend it. And I was like, just stop.
Dude.
Just stop. I know you know.
Yeah.
You don't want to let it go. You don't want to admit it. Just stop. Some people, though, my friends, they were like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I was like, you ever stop and think twice about what you're posting? And they're like, I don't know, man. Because some people are just sitting there and they see their friend do it and they do it.
I don't know. I'm just trying to fit in.
Yeah.
fit
Yeah.
into the crowd.
Unhealthy.
Well, so
Helping.
so the reason I brought this up is because when I try talking to these people, we were mentioning like Schrodinger's POC and stuff. Like, I was talking to a friend, and they're defending all of this stuff. And so I sent him an article where Antifa threatened to burn down a theater
Okay.
for an event I was organizing
All right, I remember
last
that.
year. The
yeah.
headliner was Daryl Davis, the famous black jazz musician who de-radicalizes white supremacists.
Yep.
He did a lot too, right?
Yeah, over 200.
That's amazing.
His stories are amazing.
What a dude.
But you know what's crazy is he's a regular guy.
Yeah.
And that's his thing. Like, one of the stories he told was that he met a white supremacist, and it turns out the white supremacist was a big rock and roll fan, and he as a jazz musician had access to like some famous car or something.
Cool.
And he was like, "You want to see the car?" And the guy was like, "What?"
That's so
And he's
cool.
like, "Yeah, I can show you the actual car." Like, I can't remember the exact story. And all of a sudden, this white supremacist had like this like snap in his mind where he was like, "This guy's cool.
Yeah.
like he's giving me like this is a dream come true."
You like the same things I do?
What?
I didn't think that was possible, but you have different
Humanity?
colored skin.
Yeah, what the
Yeah.
heck?
It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
Davis is
yeah,
awesome,
duh,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah.
But so here's what I'm talking to them
Come
about this.
on.
Gotta get through.
I send them the article,
Okay.
and I said, because they had been talking about Antifa and Trump, and it's like exaggerated and all this stuff. And I said, well, here's what happened to me. And instead of saying, "Damn, bro, I'm sorry that happened to you," like, what was that all about? This is a friend of mine. You know what she said to me?
What?
"Why didn't you invite more black people?"
Are you serious?
Not even kidding. Yeah. And I was like, what? What?
Why would
Someone
that be
threatened
where
to
they
burn
went?
down the theater where I was putting an event on. Why are you asking me to justify what I did or didn't do? I was like, you're victim blaming.
Did you tell her that?
Yeah, I
Good.
did.
Good. I'm glad.
But it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care for the idea. It's just like, I don't understand how it is that when I tell you that white people, okay, I don't care that they're white, but it is part of like what you believe, threatened to burn a theater to the ground because they didn't want. The event was put on by a Jewish man,
Okay.
an immigrant, a Mexican man, and a Korean white mixed race person. All of us.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired person organizing this.
Right.
No
And
Army
it
in
was
here.
white people threatening it, and their first reaction is justify why you did wrong. And I was like, this is crazy. Our headliner was a black man.
Yeah.
But there should have been more. I'm like, it was like disproportionately people of color, even organized by people.
Yeah.
And the event was called Ending Violence, Racism, and Authoritarianism.
Okay.
And they threatened to burn the theater down. Mind blowing. I was like, we literally tried putting on an event where we were going to bring, conservative figures, libertarian figures, even progressives to sit down and talk about these issues.
That's it, though. The left doesn't want us together.
These extremists.
I think you're
Okay,
right.
the far
Yeah.
left.
Right. The Google Gobble people
The
aren't paying
Google
attention.
gobble.
No.
No, right. The Google gobble, blah blah blah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Same thing.
They're not
Exactly.
paying attention at all.
Yeah.
So they only get their cues from their priests of their new religion.
So it's funny that you mentioned that because I was actually listening to them, and it reminded me a lot. Some people really aren't going to like this, but it actually reminded me a lot of being in church, because when you have a liturgy, the pastor reads and then the congregation repeats back. So you'll read along in your bulletin or in your hymnal, and you communicate with each other that way. And that is exactly what that sounded like to me. Like,
Well-
do they know that they've adopted a religion? I'm
That's
just
why I
curious.
called it.
Or
That's why I said it.
a cult.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the difference?
I
Well,
think it is
no.
a cult.
Sorry, I'll
They're-
say it.
they're
It is
not
a
worshiping.
cult.
Religious is. I mean, religion is a form of a cult.
But-
it's. I mean, it's
It's
fine line, I guess. But,
fine lines, and there's a scale for sure.
Okay.
But the reason I'd say this is a cult and not a religion is, of course, cults try to use the essence of religion.
Yeah.
But
Because it's worked forever.
let's talk about the Abrahamic religions. They actually got books. They got rules. They have priests who try their best to interpret, and it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. But for the most part, you could actually look at the Ten Commandments and be like, I have a list of things you're not supposed to do.
And I see why.
And you look at these people, they have no rules. There's literally nothing you can do. And that's why I say it's a cult. Because all you can do is adhere to the power structure and those who say they're in charge. Now, of course, that's true for many religions. There are people who exploit religions. But I look at someone like Chris Pratt, apparently is like a legit Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Who really does walk the walk, and he lives like a good Christian and all that stuff.
Okay.
And there are people that there are good and bad people no matter what. So when
I agree with that.
I grew up Catholic for the first, I think sixth grade was the first grade I left Catholic school and went to public school.
Okay.
And there's just people, man. There are some people who try to live right and do good by what their teachings are, and there are some people who pretend to and exploit it. The problem with this is it's a bunch of people not paying attention and a bunch of people exploiting it. There are the people who aren't paying attention, don't study, don't read anything. They're not telling you, we want to do right by these people for these reasons.
I believe the term is sheeple.
Yep, that's a good term.
They're the ones watching mainstream media, believing everything that it says. Oh, that's what's going on? Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's
I believe everything.
It's not even so much that. I think it's that they know who their priests are, and as long as they heard it from them, they'll stick to it. And a lot of their priests are brands and marketing companies and weird things like that.
Good point.
So here's where I would separate the two, because I got to admit, I'm no fan of organized religion. I'm not practicing. I'm not part of it. I have my own, spiritual beliefs or whatever.
Same.
But this is exploitation for political power.
Yep.
Which we've seen in the past from religions. And so maybe we could argue this is the emergence of something which will eventually become, a hard book that you must, follow by. For the time being, it's a cult. I remember talking to some friends who weren't paying attention, and I said, what they're doing is cult-like behavior. And they, no. And then like a year later, they're like, you were right.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's a cult.
That's pretty culty right
They
there.
go around beating people. Not all of them. The armed ideologues of the group. And you can argue the same thing about religion. Okay, go for it. You want to argue the same thing about religion? Bro, that means you are all the things you're complaining about. So if you want to argue that, that's fine. But the point I was getting at in the beginning when I brought this up was that trying to talk to somebody, to explain to them what's really going on in the world, their blinders are on. Completely just shut out from everything.
Yeah, I got here and you were like, take those blinders off, Adam. I was like, no. Oh, now I see everything.
Oh, I wish I did.
But I don't even think it was really...
I know, I'm just joking.
No, there are some people I know who man, some of my friends who have gone off the rails, man.
It's so hard to see,
Yeah,
dude.
I know, you told me certain stories.
Well, we did some segments about it.
Yeah.
But there are some people I see them posting, and it's like, these are people... it's like the Google Gobble people I think are... The reason I say that is because they're not thinking about what they're doing, what they're following, why they're following it. They just like being a part of the winning team, I guess. It's mob mentality, really. It's all it is. So when you try to talk to them and say, like, here's a piece of evidence, their brain shatters.
Yep.
It's like all of a sudden, this thing that made them feel good and welcome and accepted is busted, is broken. They get angry about it. It's very, very religious. It really is. And I'll tell you the one big difference. We can argue everything about historical religions with actual texts and history and everything, and why that's probably not still a good enough argument. But I'll tell you this: if you are a Christian, if you are a Muslim, if you are Jewish, if you are, I don't know, Confucian, is that
Yeah.
something?
Is
and
it? Oh, okay.
And you were violent and trying to force your ideology on other people, we got problems.
Agreed.
If you are any one of those religions and you want to chill and have a conversation about it,
Let's do it.
come on over.
Yeah, man.
I had somebody knock on the door. This is really funny. It was a group of, I think it was Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think it was it.
Do they wear the suits?
No, it was little girls. I don't know. I don't know what religion it was.
Huh.
But it was like teenage girls, maybe like 14 or 15, knocked on the door, and I saw outside on my street a bunch of people with Bibles. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And they asked me if I had time to talk about, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
It wasn't
and the
soy
Bible.
Jesus?
It wasn't soy Jesus,
No, not
unfortunately.
soy Jesus.
Okay.
And I said a little bit. And they asked me if I was Christian or anything. I said I wasn't. And to be honest, I didn't want to waste their time because I'm not interested. But I will pass along a compliment that one of the most important tenets of our constitutional democratic republic, I'm going to be very specific because I know people get, angry.
Freedom of religion.
No, it's the presumption of innocence is a foundation of our country, and it's rooted in the story of I believe it's Sodom and Gomorrah. And I don't know, it's been a while, but you know this probably way better than I do about if there's but one righteous person,
Right.
I will spare the city.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
What is that story? Tell the story.
So with Sodom and Gomorrah, what was basically done is the number of men who needed to be righteous for the city to be saved was negotiated from a high number to a very, very, very low number. And if you know anything about the story, there was not even that number of good people in the city. So
Yeah.
city
So the
was
cities
out.
got purged.
Yeah, they got a little
but
bit
the
purged.
gist of the story was basically, God's all like, I'm gonna blow this place up, and the dude's like, but what if there's like 50 good 100 good people? And he was like, okay, well, if there's 100, I won't do it. Well, what if there was 50 good people? God's like, okay, if we're 50, I wouldn't.
Right.
And eventually goes down to 1. If there's 1 innocent person, I will not destroy it. And then, like, I guess what was like the good people got saved or something.
So they fled the city.
Yeah, and then God was
him
like,
his family.
boom,
Yeah,
blew it
and blew the whole thing up. And I think it was 10. I don't think it was just 1. I think it
Oh,
was 10.
okay.
Yeah, but it was very, very few.
But yeah, so in that regard, think about that story and how from that you have the story of the righteous people must be saved. You cannot even kill. Like there's a whole city that needs to be punished and it's full of sin. But if there's 1 innocent person, you can't do it. We got Blackstone's formulation. It is better that 10 guilty persons escape than 1 innocent suffer. We got Ben Franklin taking it up, saying 100 guilty persons escape than 1 innocent suffer. And I stand here proud as those ideas have passed through our legal system and need to be protected at all cost. And it's got a story in the Bible. So I look at that and I'm like, those are good things that protect the innocent. You look at what these people are doing and they're chanting Google gobble over and over again, and there's nothing going on in those ideas. But also a really important point someone mentioned in the comments, which really draws that line between the two, is separation of church and state.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I believe that.
We can absolutely see and fight when certain ideological views based in religion try to permeate in our government. And because our government was for the longest time comprised of people who were overwhelmingly Christian, it did pass through. And over time, that's actually changed. Morality laws have gone away, clothing laws have changed. And that's because we have this separation. But this is not legally defined as a religion because it's an ideology, which means it is leaking into our government. And it is now affecting our laws, and things make no sense anymore. Like the multi-gender thing. All of a sudden now in New York, you can be literally any gender. You can make it up. And it's not exaggeration.
You can be an animal.
Yeah.
Well, technically, yes. In New York, they define gender identity as self-expression.
Okay.
Yup. That's it. Because how else do you define it? What's the difference between a woman who's gender neutral, who's got a short haircut and is wearing like a sleeveless, black t-shirt and jeans, and a woman who is self-identified as female, knows nothing of any of this stuff, and is wearing the exact same clothes, the same haircut? You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Right.
Unless they told you, because they self-identify. So the law comes out. So this is what you end up getting when there's no separation between the Google Gobble people and the government. You end up with the changing of words and definitions, which alter the laws overnight.
Well, thankfully, this video isn't from like a government faction of some sort.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
but
just a bunch of people showing up to show how their support in this way.
But this ideology is already in government. Like I remember I was at like a Wendy's in Pennsylvania or something.
Okay.
And on the wall, like when you walk in on the left, was like their statement of like equal rights and all that, and it included all of this gender ideology and other stuff. And I'm like, that's just weird.
Yeah.
It's like I get it that we don't really have to worry about it. Like it's a fair point to say there's rarely, if ever, a dude walking in the woman's bathroom dressed as a woman trying to pretend to be trans or something. If a dude really wanted to go in, they just do it. There's other ways that guys.
That's a good point.
So I think it's a silly argument when they're like, oh no, what if men do these things? Well, what if they do them now? I mean, whatever. But the issue is
they probably do them.
They do, and they probably always done it.
Exactly.
The issue is legal protections, like school programs for women and sports programs for, I should say, females, for biological females.
Right.
So this is where the civil rights are being destroyed by this ideology. So I'll tell you straight up, man.
Women's rights also.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what I mean. Like, but it's civil rights as a whole.
You're right. Yeah.
If you could identify as anything you want, then you can be transracial.
Yep.
And there are people who are actively doing this.
Yep.
And there was, what was it? Brown University allows you to identify as POC if you'd like.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds
I
right.
think it was Brown.
It's absolutely nuts.
It's like you just fill in a form like, I am a POC. There you go. And then you can ask for the benefits that come along with it. And I'm like, well, then what? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What did people fight for? Seriously.
I guess the issue is because now you're basically taking away the protections by opening up to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you solve for that. I guess you got to create a special programs for certain individuals, or it can't be done. There's no point at which you can rest and say we've accomplished civil rights, because it's always changing.
Yeah.
Like, so we heard about the slippery slope argument from conservatives 20 years ago. Like if we enact gay marriage, this is what comes next. Some of these things have come next.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mostly don't care about a lot of these things. Like if somebody wants to use the bathroom, it's like
If they want to identify as a deer, like, okay.
yeah, I don't care.
I don't care.
Right.
That's
you do
fine.
you, boo.
Yeah.
Don't power trip.
Exactly.
But
if,
there is a fair point about the slippery slope that's come 20 years ago and it's still here today.
Yeah.
Is about like, will we have to create a new sporting division for deer?
Probably.
If they want to identify as a deer and
Yeah.
compete in
Yep.
sports, then yeah, I don't see
And they
why
take
not.
like deer hormones
Deer
or
jump
something.
really well, so.
Sure.
What about the tiger person? Remember the tiger person that got surgically altered to look like a tiger?
Oh,
No, I must have missed
Some-
that.
So yeah.
That was
We're
back when I
lost.
had my blinders on.
gosh.
No, this was
Jealous.
this is a famous TV show personality and like well-known figure.
I don't know.
Got like
Must have
the
missed
mouth
it.
split, got face tattoos of tiger, and got
Wow.
fake whiskers put in, and I believe was a transgender trans species she tiger.
Wow.
Not exaggerating at all.
Oh, man.
Okay.
So do we recognize other?
I
kin?
have to see this. Hold
Yeah,
on.
look it up.
Wait, yeah.
So,
we're
and I mean this.
looking at
I mean this with the utmost respect. No disrespect. These are legitimate questions I'm trying to ask. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. I legitimately am curious if otherkin will become protected under the law, because if the law in New York says self-expression is part of the definition of gender identity, then if your self-expression is that you are a dragon lord named Zentheon.
That's pretty cool, actually.
That sounds good.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, you want to be Dragon Lord, and you get like, you wear a wingsuit, and you have a scepter and a helmet, and you walk around saying you are Zentheon, the human form of the Dragonborn, and and that's your name. To what extent do I have to partake? I think it's.
I half expected a Skyrim shout.
Foos.
Yeah.
You walk into Starbucks. What can I get you for? What can I get you, sir? Foos, raw. And then the guy's like,
The cup just goes flying off.
yeah, no. Are you implying the other kid actually has the shout powers? No, but
Dragonkin, yes, maybe.
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah,
been
yeah.
proven yet, but
So
maybe.
I think it was Jordan Peterson who said, to what extent do I have to entertain your?
Yeah.
What did he call it?
Where do you draw the line? He didn't call it
Yeah.
a fantasy. He was very
Someone else
nice,
did.
very accommodating,
Yeah.
but he's like, where does my right to call it like I see it end? Where does it end?
So
Where
if
do
we
feelings
say-
begin?
yeah, basically bordering on freedom of speech. Like,
Yeah.
where does that end?
Well,
You
that
know,
was
because
that was
that's
his point.
what it is,
It is
essentially.
murky. Yeah, it
Okay,
really is.
legitimate question, because the argument, and I've heard the answers, and I'll give them to you. The first question is, if you want to identify as something else,
Mm-hmm.
and right now, transgender is the thing. They say, well, that literally exists within you. The DNA for this, it's part of being human.
Right, but we're related to every animal if you trace it back far
And
enough.
that's so.
Yeah.
we're
That's the other
related
argument.
to a banana.
That's
Interesting
so
point.
We have the same.
Funny you bring
I
that up,
identify
Adam.
as a banana.
Indeed.
Well, so this is the other argument, right? So the argument, the response is, when you say, why would I have to entertain your, identity?
Right.
Why can't I call you what I want? And they say it's respectful. And then they argue, then the next argument was transracialism. Well, the people who are transracial are asking for the exact same thing. They say, oh, well, but they're not really that race.
Wait, so that woman who was the leader of that organization turns out she
NAACP.
Rachel Dolezal. Yeah.
she turned out she wasn't actually black.
Yeah.
Blonde.
Well, actually, she identified as black,
Yeah. She does.
which is actually
That's-
very true.
And that's what she does.
Yeah.
That's not what she says. She's transracial.
Ah,
And
I was actually making a joke, but
and
Yeah, I
and
know.
if anybody can be if anyone can be a
Ooh.
POC, then what are we supposed? What do we do? Like there's no more
honestly,
civil rights, right?
It's honestly, it's like getting rid of minorities. I don't see
Yeah,
it,
it is
as that.
erasure.
I don't see that as an issue. I think we're all humans anyway. So
this
it's
is-
like, all right. I'm kind of with it.
This is the weird thing that happens then. If you're a social liberal who thinks there really are things we can do to benefit people of like marginalized classes or whatever, you legitimately think so. There's a light approach to it. What's the solution? Class-based issues seems to be the best, solution. It's helping with education and with investments and helping generational wealth and things like that. If you want to destroy civil rights, what do? Make sure everyone has access to every program for every marginalized group. And because what is it saying? When everyone's special, no one
No
will
one
be.
is special. Yeah.
And that's what's happening. So that's why it brings me back to the first segment we did about Black Lives Matter. Who benefits the most from everything that's happening? I got to be honest, it's not the left. I mean, if the left's really their goal is ultra traditional militaristic government and the removal of civil rights law. It's like, hey, keep going, man. That's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they're doing. So now, if you think about it, we don't even have a female athletics division anymore. When was that? What was that created?
The female athletic division?
It was probably with
Look,
with like Title IX or something, I'd
recent,
imagine.
yeah.
Or was that? Yeah. So you have a special sporting division for women because women don't do well against men, and then they erase it, and now males are competing against females again. Or I'm sorry, males are just competing and females are being pushed out.
Yeah.
So if we go down that route, look, man, when money's involved, why wouldn't, the female division just be trans athletes? And if that's what society wants, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, eventually all the women are going to be pushed out because they're not physically built like a biological male.
Yeah.
The Olympics
erased.
are supposedly going to be allowing transgender athletes.
I think that's ridiculous.
And that's going to result in, look, if every country wants the gold from the Olympics, well, then of course they're going to choose the best path towards victory.
Yeah.
So they're going to seek out the best of the best. And I look at, there's an interesting argument there about basketball.
Okay.
The argument is basketball is disproportionately one race. I think it's disproportionately black
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
and disproportionately height advantaged. No one complains about
Well,
it.
that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Right. So that's the argument. They say no one complains that there's no rules protecting short people. Do you want to create a short division for basketball where only people for 5'10"?
Do that? Yeah.
No, that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
So-
it is. It's a silly sounding basketball team.
So the argument from them is, in this
You got to
regard,
be under 5 foot to be on our team.
if we don't have the same protection for people who just happen to be too short to play, and you end up with sports that are dominated by people who only are fortunately one body type, it's actually more fair because now think about it. How many people are over, 6'5"? Very, very, very few people.
True.
Right.
So you've created a sport because there's no rules that disproportionately advantages a tiny micro fraction of the population. What's the difference?
You're right.
Well, that's the argument they bring up.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we, you know what they're actually arguing though for, right?
What?
Is degender, like equity in sports, in basketball and football. Could you imagine if they actually implemented rules where it's like the NBA teams had to be half female?
Oh boy.
It would basically just be the guys playing against each other for the most part.
You just make the teams a little smaller.
So
Good
look,
fundamentals, though.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Futurama joke.
Yeah.
right. I don't know where that argument takes you in the end. I see the point, but there are a lot of sports that don't have these advantages, and you can also point out, Muggsy Bogues in the NBA. What was he, like 5'3"?
Yeah.
We brought him up before, and he's somebody who earned it through merit and ability. But then they just say, like, what's one person out of how many? And so, yeah, NBA just keeps trying to find the best of the best. And if that's the point, then why wouldn't someone find the best of the best for women's sports?
All things.
All things.
Yeah, exactly.
How about all things?
Meritocracy.
So I guess the main issue, though, is men and women can both be very tall. And here's the counter to that. The NBA is comprised of the best physically fit and the best physically applicable of the males and the best physically fit and applicable of the females. We still separate based on gender because of the bell curve for both genders being more, like you're more likely to be like your own biological sex than the other.
Okay.
So we separate it for that reason. But the counter argument is, yes, sports choose the best of the best. Your point?
Yeah.
Why we're not going to allow,
Well, if I'm going to watch a sport, I want to see the best of the best compete.
yeah.
Capitalism, baby.
And so the issue there is watching someone who's biologically male compete against females is not giving you the best of the best for females.
No.
And so you don't get to see the best females in the sport. You get to see the best. You get to see a male who didn't make it or isn't competing in the male division or whatever for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't want to imply that they were doing it too.
Right.
What
But
I mean is,
I mean, I'm sure that happens, though. Man, I'm not the best in the male side, but I can identify as a woman because I already know that I'm better than the best female.
I think.
I'm not saying it happens either, but I would not be surprised.
Well, I think
And I have a feeling a lot more people think that.
there are a few cases where the individuals aren't on any therapies or treatments.
Okay.
That makes me wonder. But it's like 2 of most of the cases we've seen. Most of the cases we've seen where a transgender male athlete beats the females is they're legit transitioning.
Yeah.
And there have been only there's a few instances of people who are really exploiting it. I'm not going to name them because they don't deserve to be named. But
Right.
oh yeah, some nasty people,
Oh, yeah.
nasty people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I see a lot of female athletes that are speaking out against it because they're pissed.
Right.
They're like,
Understandably.
how can we compete? This isn't fair. Like we're
They can't.
we're the top of our class and we're being outclassed completely by biological males.
Let's
Yeah.
just remove all restrictions for all sport. You're playing basketball, you can have a hockey stick and roller skates and trampolines get thrown on the field. No rules. What are the rules? Who wins? I have no idea. But it looks crazy. Let's just go for it.
That sounds fun,
Anarchy.
actually. I would
Anarchy
do it.
sports. Just total chaos.
Calvin
It's a
ball.
field. And we show up and watch people do weird things. And they, for some reason, there's a common theme of throwing balls through other holes, like through holes of some sort.
What's that movie we just watched with is it The Hunt?
The Ringer. Oh,
The
Hunt?
Ringer?
No, where they put a box of guns and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
in The
that
Hunt.
was The Hunt.
That's how we'll do sports. We'll just drop a bunch of players on a field, have a box
Full of
and
things.
just
Full of
open it up. And
soccer balls,
there's soccer balls,
footballs,
Yeah.
footballs.
Rugby.
You know.
Yeah.
And there'll be hoops everywhere, and there'll be goals, and just go, just do it. That'd actually be a funny sport.
That'd be
But
fun.
you gotta understand, people get good at that.
I know that's
Like,
true.
You know, they would figure out which balls to throw.
Mm-hmm.
They would have teams. They'd be like, okay, when we go for it,
It'd be like a
We're-
relay.
We'll call
Yeah.
it all ball.
Yeah.
you're gonna have a.
Yeah.
That's actually a cool game
Kind
idea.
of like it.
You're welcome.
Oh,
So,
I
because
love it.
think about it this way, you'll have special people who are it's like they're wide receivers.
That was the day all ball was born.
All ball. It's a big crate. You know, it just opens up and there's a bunch, and then
like
it's
spring-loaded,
and it's also
everything comes
dodgeball.
Yes.
It's also
also
dodge. If
dodgeball.
you get hit by it, you're done.
Yes.
That would
This is good.
Flying
That'd
out.
actually be a funny game.
Let's keep this going.
Yeah.
We can talk about this later.
Yeah, man. Brainstorming.
no.
I love it.
Well, we actually had a bunch of more important breaking news that
whatever.
Yeah.
we didn't get to.
Whoa, important stuff to talk about.
No.
Yeah, but I think I'm glad we had fun talking about the things that we did. So I'll just let you guys know the
Hashtag all ball.
I love
all
it.
ball. Is that what- is
I
that
love
what
the
it's saying?
chat. Hey chat,
ball.
hold on. This is for you.
Wait, okay,
let me
we're
get the
gonna-
wide. Let me get the
I'm
wide
guessing
chat.
We're gonna. Yeah, there
This
we
is
go.
for you, chat, because you guys are great.
Spin it.
Love it.
All right, now we may continue. Tim.
Okay, let us continue.
So 3 other cops in the George Floyd case have been charged with aiding and abetting a murder.
All right,
And
bring
Derek
it on.
Chauvin's charge is raised from 3rd to 2nd degree murder.
Good.
All now face 40-year terms.
Wow.
No, I'm not. Look, I think there's real question about 2nd degree murder charge for Chauvin because apparently he knew the guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's where it gets weird.
Exactly.
I mean,
he knew him.
So they haven't gone as far as say that he knew him, but they said that he
The owner of the nightclub came out and said they both worked for me.
for a year.
They were both security guards. She said she didn't see them interact, but she knew that the cop was a hothead. He was macing people regularly.
Holy cow.
And then the other dude worked inside, so they were, they weren't in the
Really
same.
worked
One was
together.
like door security, one was like indoor security to like have to haul people out. I think
Yeah.
that was George. And but I mean, they worked there for her for a while.
You know what, man? I gotta say, if you go to a jury and say these 2 guys worked together for a year
Yeah.
and they may not have interacted, I think a
Ooh,
reasonable
yeah.
person's gonna be like, "Come on,
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
come on." Well, you worked at a.
Well, she said she didn't know. That's
Right,
all
I
I was
know,
saying.
I know.
She wasn't sure if they had
Right, right,
interacted,
right.
but they both worked there for a year. So
Seriously,
like, come
yeah.
on, you work at a place, you know the people that work there.
Exactly. The point I'm bringing up is, she can say she's not sure, but a reasonable person's gonna be like, "Nah." Like if you worked at a big office building,
And then he killed the guy.
yeah.
Right. Come on.
But that's why I think there may actually be here's the reason I bring this up. There's often these cases where they try and give really harsh charges that never stick.
Right.
And they wonder why these cops don't get convicted. And
Right.
they say it's because the system's protecting itself. And it's like, there's a little bit of that maybe.
or the charges were too vicious.
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
That didn't, that didn't stick because of that.
You,
right.
In a lot of these circumstances, you have a cop
Mm-hmm.
who freaks out, kills somebody, and they say murder, and it's like, first of all, you have to consider that police are trained for lethal situations,
Yep.
which means they're not going out for the most part with the intent to actually kill people.
And also, they actually deal with lethal situations.
Right.
No, it's not like it just suddenly sprung on them. They're trained, and they actually have to deal with this a lot. So they go into every situation thinking that, like, I got to be prepared just in case this turns into a lethal, situation. So like, you got to look at both sides of that. But the fact that they knew each other.
Right. So here's the point I was making. When it comes to the line of duty, you might be able to get a manslaughter charge, negligent homicide or something like that, depending on your jurisdiction, because you can't ask someone to take a lethal weapon and enter situations where they may die and then call it premeditated murder when someone dies.
That's why I was saying it should be manslaughter from the beginning.
No, this shouldn't be.
Well, no, this is before I'm finding out. In the beginning, I was like, it's clearly manslaughter.
At least,
in the least,
right?
It's manslaughter
because
the guy died in his.
And so here's why I would say that you have a responsibility. So with great power comes great responsibility. Yes, I understand. You're entering a situation. You have lethal force. You might use it. It might be wrong. And if you get it really wrong, well, you're still responsible. Someone said this in chat the other day, and it's a common saying. You're responsible for every discharge of your weapon. You're responsible for every bullet and where it ends up.
I think that's true for anyone that is holding a gun in their hands.
Exactly. 100%.
And guess what? The cops still get leeway because we ask them to do it for us.
Right.
In this instance, this dude had a guy with his knee on his neck, not supposed to do that.
Yep.
And he said, don't do that. Everybody in our chat was saying, no way, don't do that. Never supposed. We had a bunch of people in Super Chat who were prison guards. We had law enforcement, military, and they all said, no way, man. We were never told to do that.
And yet, there have been people that are tweeting me in the Minneapolis police book. They have like some statues of that this could be the case. Like, you could do this in certain situations.
For kneeling on someone's neck?
Yeah. And it's like,
wow.
I'm like, I can't believe I'm actually reading this,
Yeah.
I mean, could it have been falsified? Like, someone could have like made it up and like put it out there like, look, see, he was doing whatever, So this is all hearsay as far as I'm concerned, but I am seeing that now. And it's like, is that really the case? I don't know. But my point though is, if that is the case, then that's basically them trying to get him off the charges. If they say, well, look, it's in the book. See, he was just following the book that we have written. It's like,
but I'm saying worse than that. I think sometimes you might see trumped up charges as a way to get him off.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Right. So you've got a cop who accidentally kills somebody, and it's clearly not going to fall under the statute, and the jury can't convict because it doesn't meet the guidelines.
Right.
So this is what people don't understand when it goes to a jury trial. They say the question, the jury has to answer is under, say like first degree murder. Did he, premeditate and intend to kill this individual? And immediately the jury's like, well, no, of course not.
Right.
That's it. Not guilty. So you got to make sure you charge them appropriately.
Yeah.
And it's
definitely.
But people like the sound of first degree murder, as opposed to second degree or third degree. They think it just sounds like you're going harder against them. It's like, no, it's just the appropriate charge.
Right. And that's important. If we're going to get justice for George, it's like, which I want justice for George. I
don't think these other cops should be getting 40-year terms. That to me is crazy. I'm not a fan of what they did. These other cops who were kneeling on his back, they should have known better.
Yep.
And in my opinion, that would be like a manslaughter.
Yeah.
Because they were actually, they were challenging the guy, and he was telling them, like, basically shut up. So
the other cops were standing there challenging him, like, you should get off.
Right. So basically, there's like statements from some documents where the guy's like, one of the cops is like, he's not even resisting anymore, and he's like, so what? Leave him where he is. And they're like, okay. So there's a problem. It is tough. I think 40 years is a bit harsh for people being stupid, but it is fair to point out just following orders is no excuse.
No.
You're kneeling on
people being stupid leading to a death is a little bit different than people being stupid and anything else happening.
Yeah.
But I do think
isn't a death of a human,
Yeah.
I do find 40 years extreme. Like, so we have this.
Well, it says here the most severe charges carry a maximum sentence of 40 years.
Right.
So they wouldn't get 40 years.
There's that story of the two lawyers who apparently threw a Molotov cocktail, and it was like a 30-year-old woman and a 32-year-old guy.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this earlier.
In New York, and they were lawyers, man. They had everything in front of their lives were. That's a great life.
How the law works.
They had a great life.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they fought so hard. They did everything right. Now they're lawyers.
And then they chose to make Molotov cocktails. To do what?
I don't know.
So,
but the reason I bring that up is these cops who are being charged now and face up to 40 years.
Okay.
One day They walked into work. Everything was normal. They probably had a couple donuts and a coffee, and life was great. And a moment's notice, in a flash, now they're facing prison. They're getting death threats. People are calling for their heads. And their life is forever changed. And that should be a warning to people. You can't take things for granted. You've got to be responsible for yourself. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're getting into. And I take this stuff seriously, man. I get really, really angry when people play stupid games near me.
Yeah.
When I'm in a car and someone's got road rage, I'll shut your mouth.
Yep.
Do not put me in your stupid situation. If it's a lottery ticket chance, someone throws a brick at the car. I don't want to
Or
win that
pulls
lottery.
a gun and just starts
Right.
blindly shooting at you.
That's Chicago.
Seriously, yeah.
Those are the Chicago rules.
Yep.
You know, I know too many people in Chicago who would run their mouths, and then what happens is there's shooting on the highway,
Yep.
or getting rammed into, or a fight breaks out, and I'm like,
Or
I
run
don't,
off the road.
I don't-
I almost got run over the road. Some people were crazy. Chicago's crazy, man. It's a crazy place.
I was hanging out with some skateboarders in the south suburbs, and just because they're stupid moron punks,
Yeah.
this is what really got me away from the more far left anarcho-punk people. They saw some jocks, they said, and so they went and got weapons from their trunk and then chased them off. And I was like, yo, what are you doing? It's like, we were here to skate.
Yeah.
Like, those guys weren't doing anything. And they're like, who cares? They're jocks. And I'm like, I care.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm out of this, man. I'm not gonna hang out with you, man, if you play stupid games. There's no reason to be that. So you see these two lawyers. Stupid games, man. Could you imagine what's going through their mind? Think about this. One day you wake up, you make a pot of coffee, you're hanging out with your friends, you watch I don't know, what's hot on Netflix? Tiger King.
Yeah.
You just finished the final episode, I guess.
No, that was
was a while.
April.
That was kind of March.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
April.
That was a while back.
All right, so
over.
whatever it is these dumb New York hipsters are doing.
Space Force.
Space Force, is that a show?
I don't know. That just came out.
They're eating pizza.
I haven't given it a shot yet.
They're eating a pizza. These two lawyers, and then they see riots breaking out.
Okay.
And so they're like, yo, let's make some Molotovs, huh? And then they go and do it. And just like that, they drive up in a car, and that one thin line was crossed, and their lives are over. Rightly so.
Yep.
Stupid games, stupid prizes, man.
Yeah, that's how decisions
And so,
work.
I bring it back to this. Like, it's just an idea I've been thinking about with, like, how easily your life will end when you do something dumb.
It's easy to see in the riots.
I wonder if this woman or this man was an unwitting moron. Like, the guy drove apparently. I wonder if she was like, come on, let's do this, drive. And he's like, okay. And he just went along with it. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying you can't, ignore responsibility for what's happening around you. So with these cops, they're getting charged. I'm not surprised.
Yep.
When you are kneeling on someone's back and you say he's not resisting and the guy says, I don't care, you push him off. You see that video where the
Agreed.
cop...
Yeah,
you saw
you're
the
absolutely
cop?
right.
You see that video where the cop is kneeling on the guy's neck in the riot and they're screaming, get his knee off his neck, and then the other cop grabs his knee and pulls him off?
Awesome.
Yep, there you go.
I was like, that's how easy it is. Look at that.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Arrest the rioter. But these other cops, they were just mindlessly derping along. Oh, my boss said so. Just laying on this guy's back was dying. That's messed up, man.
Yep.
So the medical examiner said that it wasn't strangulation. It was a combination of the restraint and pre-existing medical conditions. And then I guess two pathologists concluded that it was pressure on, I guess, the carotid or the arteries to the neck. Basically, it's not strangulation. It's like when you compress
You
someone,
cut the blood off from the
and
brain.
then they die.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
That's how that works.
So now, let's talk about. We'll wrap this up with the last point about him knowing him and now second degree murder.
Now, before we move on from this, though, I do want to ask the question. People are rioting for this, right? Mm-hmm. Now, would these guys, all these cops, I mean, were they going to face these charges anyway? Are people going to
No.
be like, if we didn't riot as crazy as we did, would this have happened? I'm curious,
Yeah.
because
It wouldn't.
They-
and you know what?
it wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have arrested them.
They would not have arrested him.
Not the same.
They wouldn't have arrested him. No.
Okay.
So here's what needs to happen from this point forward.
Mm-hmm.
If I was the mayor of Minneapolis, you know what I'd say?
What?
I'd walk out and I'd say, this man will be arrested and charged based upon the evidence presented in front of us,
Okay.
and we will address the situation brought up to all of us. If there is a riot, he will be released immediately, and all charges will be dropped due to
Oh.
conflict of interest, and we will not capitulate to threats of violence from anyone, anywhere. And mark my words, from this day forward, if you ever riot in response to this, we will drop all charges immediately on these officers.
What, and like let them out?
I am exaggerating quite a bit,
Yeah.
but the point I'm trying to make is These people are rioting, and the government said, whatever you want. You know what they just told the rioters?
What?
Do it
whatever you
again.
want. Yeah.
Do it again.
Who said that?
The government. The government said, we're so sorry, rioters. You can do whatever you want. And because you did, we will give you what you asked for. You don't negotiate with terror. Look at what's happening about like COVID.
But they are.
The law-abiding...
That's what that is then.
Right? The law-abiding citizens who...
Have been staying in for months.
Who shuttered their businesses and then legally went out and said, we want our businesses back.
Or just, I want to go to church.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seriously.
They were smeared and defamed and insulted.
Yeah.
And the people who broke the rules and broke the law were defended. That's what you've learned. And that is a dangerous precedent in our society that the terror works, man.
Seems
It reminds
like
me of that Star Trek episode where Data asks Picard, you know, if we condemn terrorism, why is it so often that it throughout history it works? And then Data gives him examples, and Picard's like, I don't know. You know, some of the most difficult questions that we've fought it, you know,
that
ourselves.
was a good
It was a
episode.
real good episode. Yeah, because
Data's
unfortunately, these people know. South Park did that episode where they talked about terrorism, and then in the end, Comedy Central bleeped the whole speech. Because basically he was like, I learned something today, that if you engage in violence and fear and threaten people, they'll give you whatever you want and it works and all this other stuff.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Dangerous thinking.
Yeah. And this is what we're getting out of this. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. If they had come out immediately and said, you know, listen, if there's ever an instance where this occurs and you peacefully protest and march to the streets, we will listen. If you riot, we shut it down immediately. We'll let them go. Keep rioting all you want, man. But I'll tell you what, we cannot have a society where you threaten small business owners and regular people, where a 77-year-old retired police chief dies because he got the David Dorn story. He got a call.
Yeah, it's sad.
And he went to check it out, and they killed him for some TVs. Now we have 13 plus people who have died, and they're going, the rioting worked. Oh, that's great. All you had to do was walk over some corpses to get what you wanted. Isn't that great?
Yeah, more people died.
We can't have that, man. So I don't know if the solution actually is to say, we'll cut them loose if you riot. But the point I'm making is you can't give the rioters what they want. Then they'll riot more. Because what happened? They rioted and said, here's what we want. So they gave it to them. They rioted more. Okay, we'll up the charges. They rioted more. And then they said, we want first-degree murder. It's like, are we negotiating here, dude?
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, we're negotiating. You're destroying businesses, setting fires across the country. And that's your negotiation?
Killing your own people, too.
Seriously.
Killing people.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point, Tim.
Fighting to sneeze now. Oof. Anyway, man, I'll wrap it up with this. In foreign countries, Middle East, if an American gets kidnapped, you know what the U.S. government promises?
Dropping the hammer on them.
We promise that a helicopter will fly over where you live and a bunch of commandos will jump down and execute everybody in that facility.
Woo.
That's the promise you get. Those are our deliverables.
Let's do it.
So they don't like kidnapping Americans. Do you know what Germany and Spain say?
What?
We will pay immediately.
Well, then.
So they love kidnapping them. But those people are safe, and then they pay for it. No, man. So I went through that hostile environment action, whatever it's called, training.
Yeah.
And they told us straight up that if you are captured and, you know, first and foremost, you have to assess your own situation. Can you escape? Feign illness? You know, whatever. For the most part, however, they said, rest assured, Americans who are kidnapped have an extremely high chance of, extremely high, like in plus 90% percentage of rescue. Because the American government wants it to be known that if American is taken, you are dead. So they don't always, and sometimes it takes a really, really long time. So, depending on who's kidnapped you, whether it's a governmental force or it's, you know, randos, like random people, like random terrorists or something.
Yeah.
They're coming for you. And it gets really difficult when it's a government like Iran or Venezuela or North Korea. But when it's journalists, you know, in certain areas, man, I know some people who have been rescued by the State Department.
Really?
It's crazy stuff, dude. I know somebody who was in Libya when the Gaddafi stuff was going down.
Wow.
And the U.S. government sent in a helicopter for him. Like, I'm like, what? And I'm like, just for you? And they were like, they evacuated Americans. Like, they knew that there were some Americans that were there, and they got a bunch of people out.
Huh?
Yeah. And I'm like, that's crazy,
Wow.
man.
That's very
They
cool.
flew you out. So these are stories that I've heard. And some journalists have told me that after kidnappings, like, yeah, they'll send you a helicopter, bro. And these people are worried that someone's going to drop down and it's going to be a bunch of, you know, it's going to be SEAL Team 6. And that's not who you want to meet.
Definitely not.
Not
Not
worth
worth it.
No way.
We do the opposite in our own country. We tell them, Oh yeah, you burn stuff, you blow it up. Yeah, all right, we got you. We'll give you what you want.
Huh.
It's a horrifying lesson to the law-abiding citizens of this country who've lost their businesses, and the loved ones of people like David Dorn, for instance,
Yeah.
who now have to see the suffering. Meanwhile, in the media, they praise it. Chris Cuomo praises it. These people are gross.
Chris Cuomo's a joke.
Yup. Well, how about we get to those super chats finally,
Do
huh?
it. Yes.
Huh? All right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So let's see.
What up,
We got
everybody?
50 billion super chats.
Oh gosh.
And we'll do our best to read through them, but I don't know if we have too much or bunch more.
no.
There it is. It just
Okay.
erased a bunch.
Already?
we didn't
Yup.
even have a chance to read them.
First of all, I gotta say, man, I'm really, really annoyed. This is the third browser I've tried. YouTube Studio is broken.
Yeah.
It's completely broken. Our stats don't update. Super chats often don't appear.
You know what? I got to spin the UFO for all those chats
it.
that just got deleted.
That's right.
I
There's
don't know
gotta
if
be
you
a
caught
few in
that.
there.
So
YouTube just deleted all the beginning super chats, so we don't know how many we lost.
it ripped 20 minutes of super chats.
Can we get an F in chat, please?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sure.
10 minutes.
Hold on, let me
that's
put
erased.
an F. Let me get
The
let me get
first
this
10
going.
minutes.
F in chat.
Yeah, man.
Oh
It's
man.
for you, everybody.
But to be honest, there's just already a ridiculous amount of people watching. So as much as I love all you guys, when we have 10 times as many viewers as we had when we first started reading super chats, and it's just there's too many.
Love you guys.
So I'm gonna just read as many as I can because now it's basically a Q&A session.
Yeah, let's do it.
And unfortunately, we just lost the early ones. I saw I'd Be Rippin' 'Em was in there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Man.
I be ripping them. Shout out to you, buddy.
We had a fart joke. We're gonna read
He's
it.
the most
Man.
consistent.
Got
I
erased.
am
One of the most
I
consistent
know.
super chatters.
Disappointed.
appreciate it.
Nothing if not regular.
Yep. So
No,
the first,
I got nothing.
Here's what we got. We got Robbie Schroeder says, just saw the notification and decided to come watch. Also, the Lilat system is a Star Fox reference from me. Would rather deal with Andros or be trapped on Dinosaur Planet. Here's $10 for you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Landcore
It's a good
says,
game.
can't stick around for the stream. Hope everyone is doing well. Keep up the great work. Tim, Soy, Jesus, and the Ginger Queen.
Thank
Word.
you. Oh.
Jake says, China's been kind of quiet lately, huh? What are the chances they take advantage of the West being distracted with riots to try something Red Dawn? Wasn't there some story about Chinese students being told to riot or something?
No, I didn't read
No,
that.
did you hear
That was
that?
from a long time ago.
But I
so
do
it was
s-
from the beginning of the year, I think.
But there is escalation though
Really?
between them and India.
Yes,
which is,
there's China and India.
that's happening right
conflict.
now.
Yeah, so they may be
Oh,
distracted.
man.
They're pushing out because they can. We're distracted. We're using our military for our own citizens right now.
I think I need to write a song called "The Preppers Were Right."
Yes.
Yeah,
For
maybe.
real. I'm totally gonna do it.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah, you
We've-
can write a new song in like 2 minutes, right? That's what you said.
Easy. We've got international conflict and tension. We have the Trump, Russia, Ukraine impeachment, whatever that was.
Yeah.
We've got now the coronavirus international lockdown.
The coronavirus that was.
Yes.
Now mass rioting and looting and protests.
Yep.
If you had one reason to prep, you know what I mean? I would understand if you decided not to do it. We've got, what was that, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to start gearing up
Do
or
it.
something. One of them is going to happen. I don't know what's going on.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Sarkard Darkstar says the current narrative on the ground in Minnesota is that Antifa isn't a real group. It means anti-fascist and they are good guys. And that is only white supremacists doing the damage. It's insane. It really, really is. And there's apparently the story's going around now where it's like the FBI has concluded that Antifa was not involved. And I'm like, what?
Really?
That's ridiculous.
No, hold on. You just told me Antifa wasn't a thing. Now you're telling me they're not involved. Are they a thing or are they not a thing? Or do they exist or they don't?
Right. Which is it?
They exist.
No, I know that.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, what?
Yeah. Make
So
up your
when
mind.
the funny thing is,
Well, Trump said that they're bad, so we got to go with the opposite.
Yeah,
like
they
the-
don't exist.
like, I'm just going to briefly show this because we didn't get to it. I did cover it on my second channel. Like how Trump said, take hydroxychloroquine.
Right.
And now the New York Times says that the study that claimed it was bad is now being called into question. You mean to tell me
Oh.
that Trump comes out and says, here's a drug that may help you.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the entire media says it's dangerous and it'll kill you, including Cavuto on Fox
And
News.
wouldn't let it go for days and days and
Seriously.
days, like
And now-
ripping him apart for it.
Now that everything's opening back up and the protesters are all out,
By the way.
now it's safe again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, dude. talk about a red suppository.
Yep.
Like, come
Shoving
on,
it
man.
in there, man.
You mean to tell me that
No lube.
every
Thank
yikes,
you for that.
every single media outlet, it's not every, but all these mainstream media companies are saying it'll kill you, it's dangerous. Neil Cavuto literally said, "Do not take this; it will kill you." And now, like, there was a video from Flecka's talks where a doctor was like, "We prescribe this all the time. Like, this is ridiculous. We got a memo after Trump said it saying it's dangerous." We're like, "What? No, it's not. It's been around for decades."
Yeah, they've been using it for a long time to treat like
Yeah, there's
malaria
all
and
sorts
some
of
other
stuff.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And there it is. Now that it's all kind of wrapping up, scientists are questioning whether or not it's actually bad for you.
That is amazing to
About
me.
that.
That's amazing.
Welcome to the political world we live in now, huh?
Jeez,
Nothing makes
Pete.
sense. All right, let's see where we at. Honey Badger says, "Hey y'all, would love to put my name in the beanie for the Research Fact Checker Golden Ticket. Would love to send y'all creds. We are unfortunately quite a bit away from when that actually happens, and I gotta admit, the world ending is complicating it.
Yes, somewhat. Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, the world's not ending. Come on.
I'm just kidding.
You
I'm-
know,
I'm
cities
half
being on
kidding,
fire.
actually. Josh Wolf says, protests in JCMO the other day. Largely peaceful as far as I know. Still slept with my ear on the scanner and piece loaded. Love you guys. Stay safe. Yeah, the other day we had a helicopter fly by and like I don't want to exaggerate, but a lot of sirens. Don't know how many different vehicles it was.
Yeah, it was a lot, and it went on for a little while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very obviously some kind of protest or whatever.
Well, and you can tell they were going to a specific direction. They were
Yep.
all going towards
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
It's like a magnet.
Yeah, they shut the bridges down.
Did they?
They did.
Yep.
That doesn't
more
surprise
than
me.
more than once.
That doesn't
so,
surprise me.
A couple days.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did. It's like, keep it over there, man.
Yep.
Where are we at? Fulsa says, defend the Alamo from the mob. Thoughts? Why is the Alamo under threat?
I hope not.
I don't know.
I don't
Sean
know.
Easton says, how much to spin the UFO off? This is a contribution toward that.
Whoa.
Make like a Beyblade and let it rip.
That
Let me
is
see if I can
edgy.
do
Well,
that.
wait. To spin it off, we can, but I think that's because we can't put it back on.
All right, be aware, Adam. We can't
Yeah.
put it back on. It's really hard.
You're trying to spin it off?
Oh wait, off. Like
launch it off?
Nope.
What are you doing?
No, I'm just
Nope.
trying to stop it.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
off. It's off now. You're
Oh,
welcome.
is that what they mean?
Yay!
I'm
No,
gonna
that's not what they
count it
mean.
and say that's what it was.
I thought they meant to spin it until it flipped off the thing.
Yes,
That's not enough money.
that's what this
No,
means.
right.
I don't even see how much it was, but it wasn't
It
enough.
wasn't enough.
This is our mascot.
Yeah, it's such a
Our
pain to
mascot.
put it back.
I'm sorry,
on.
but no.
No, man.
LaSalle says, take care of yourself, Tim. Hello, guys. Appreciate it.
What up?
Podcast Edge says, Tim, thanks so much for the continued coverage on everything. It's helping keep the last bit of my sanity. I still feel like I'm being gaslit, but you're keeping things in perspective. Also, Lydia, keep the shirts coming. Dude, we can see the gaslighting. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind.
I see it, man.
The New York Times. Oh, that hydroxy thing where everyone was saying it was bad for you? It's good for you now.
Yep.
What?
all right.
So what are you doing?
It's because of those people sitting with their hands up, repeating what was being told.
They want you to be a Google
There's
gobble,
so
man.
many people out
Yeah.
there like that, Google gobbles, that are just,
Seriously.
okay. Oh, it's good now? Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, did you forget about that's what Trump was saying? And they were like, yeah, well, no, Trump bad. Trump's bad.
But it's okay now.
Like, what?
I asked some friends, I'm like, I just messaged some friends, where's COVID? What do you mean? Where's COVID? I don't know. Have you been paying attention? Do you have amnesia?
Yeah.
Did you forget that we were just told we can't go outside?
Don't you wish you were
The,
Tim's
the
friend?
theater near my house is out of business now.
Yeah,
Like
they
the-
shut down.
yeah.
AMC is gone.
Did it go down? AMC's
I
gone?
think so. I think they're out of business. I gotta double check.
No. Where are we going to see our
I
movie?
They're opening.
know.
They're opening. It's like 7 or 8 miles away.
That's not
That's
too
so
bad.
much
But
fun.
I'm like, they
though.
destroyed everything. How did you forget this happened?
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Yeah, how
man.
do you forget that?
Scary.
everything down.
What are these? I'm curious. I talk about what are you doing all day? Are you like just staring at the wall?
They're watching
You know what?
TV.
I'm sorry, man.
No, everyone's probably distracted because the UFO's not spinning.
Have you ever seen?
That's what I've got my money on.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen third person, an overhead view of video game rendering? Of how?
Yeah.
So there was this viral like video showing how when your character is looking, it renders, and everything disappears when they're not looking at it. Right? That's clearly what it is. These people don't exist until
Yep.
you talk to them, and then all of a sudden it's like nothing happened. It's like time jump, or they're NPCs, whatever.
I got my money on that.
It's like, could you imagine right now? Like, imagine I want all of you to imagine this. You're all listening. You all are tuned into what's going on. Imagine your good friend or family member, and they're in their living room like this.
The T square.
T-pose.
T-pose.
T-pose doing nothing, not saying nothing. And until you message them on Facebook, all of a sudden, then they go, pick up their phone. They have no recollection of anything. Nothing
What
matters.
it's like.
It's a funny image.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hard to
all
work
of your friends
with.
and family just T-posing, completely clueless as to what's happening around the world. Yeah, that's what it is, huh?
Yeah, I try to get people to read the news.
JK says, thanks for telling the truth and getting it out there. It's people like you that may save this country. What the F everyone is posting? I missed it. The black squares? I'm like, what?
They are helping.
Oh, what's the F everyone is posting?
Oh, you missed it.
Oh, it's just a gag.
Yeah, it's respect.
For respect.
Yeah. Or
The Spiral Aim says, keep it the good fight, Tim. We need more clear reporting and analysis. Appreciate it.
I couldn't help myself.
Gary Richards says, I refuse to believe that after all the crap Tim has seen, he doesn't have a panic room full of machine guns.
Well,
Stay
Who says he
strapped
doesn't?
or get
that
clapped.
is an interesting mental image.
Well, actually,
oh gosh.
there's something you need to understand about the animal kingdom. When animals that burrow can travel for the most part in one direction. If they're in the back of their burrow, they become very vicious, except for rabbits for some reason.
They're prey animals.
Right. So badgers are extremely aggressive because they live in burrows, and when it comes to a conflict, their choice is fight or die. Birds tend to flee because they can travel in multiple dimensions, or they can go up and down. So the more mobility an animal has, the less likely it is to engage in conflict. I don't necessarily need. I can do one of two things. I can have a bug out machine gun room, or I can have a van that's self-sustaining. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I went for was
Machine gun optional.
Well, so listen.
Roof turret?
Yes.
I do not want to have.
Roof
so,
Korean.
so there's a couple things to consider. The difficulty of mobility depending on the scale of weapons you buy. So let's say rioting breaks out in the Philly suburbs.
Okay.
Well, having a gun won't be enough to stop a mass riot.
That's a good point.
So a better option is bug out. Get out of there and have a fully functioning studio to continue working and operating off the grid. That seemed like the more practical solution.
Yeah.
The other issue is, it's in the event that someone actually comes to my house. Well, I want to avoid giving away too many details, but suffice it to say, this house is protected to a rather absurd degree. To put it lightly.
It's a little weird.
But I'm not going to explain why.
I'm totally okay with it though.
Right,
That's
right,
great.
right.
I
So-
love it.
Or how, or what you mean
Well, there's a couple of things
with details.
to point out. But,
Let's move on.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
put it lightly. But bug out was seemingly more important.
Yeah, don't worry about us.
Yeah, you don't have to worry. Let's see, where are we at? Brian says, do you think the media will turn around again and still shame everyone into getting COVID vaccines? Yes, I do, because people have amnesia.
Yeah. How many people do you think are going to come down with COVID now?
Well,
Or are they even going to come down with COVID?
so here's what Mark D. Levin of New York said. I love this so
Oh
much.
man.
He said something like, remember, if in a few weeks we see a massive spike in COVID cases, don't blame the protesters, blame racism.
What?
Yeah.
Let me see if I have this story pulled
Okay.
up.
That-
I mean, I see what he's saying.
Yeah, it's right here. Check it out. NPR. Dozens of public health and disease experts have signed an open letter in support of the nationwide anti-racism protests. White supremacy is a lethal public health issue that predates and contributes to COVID-19, they wrote. Ah, that's right.
There it is.
You see, the real virus was the white supremacy we met along the way. Or as
Indeed it was.
Michael Tracy said, the white supremacy was the real virus all along.
Yep.
This is what they're saying. Could you believe this? They're telling you that they don't care about COVID if it's about racial justice, but they care about COVID if it means your life. Think about that.
You know what we're watching right now, right? We're watching the meshing of the two different dialogues, and they're making it match up perfectly.
They're trying to.
Right. They're trying. It's really, really hard, but they're
Two
managing.
galaxies are colliding.
These
I
puzzle
know.
pieces don't connect, and they're bashing it with a hammer to
They're like cutting
force
it
it
out
in.
with scissors.
the only thing you
and-
should be bashing is the like
that
button.
like button.
Smash
That
that
is
like
correct.
button.
Bash that like button. Smash it.
Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, but for real, think about it. When your business was going under, when your business was collapsing, they said, we're in this together. And you were like, fine. And when the rioters went out and burned everything down, they said, hey, man, they're speaking the language of the unheard. Calm down. Well, I gave up everything for this. You know what's scary about that, man?
What?
The people who said, for my community, I will sacrifice my business, my life.
I will lose everything.
And then when the rioters came out and they said, screw
Fine,
you.
we'll take it then.
They said, screw you.
Yeah, we're gonna break
We
your
don't-
windows.
No, you can't open your business. Oh, the rioters? Language of the unheard. You know how it is.
Man, oh man.
Why do you think any of these people believe in a community anymore? Did
No.
anyone have their back
Nope.
when their businesses no longer ceases to function? When the rioters came and destroyed everything, what did the politicians say? Well, they're grieving. They're upset. What did CNN say? Chris Cuomo says, who says protests need to be peaceful? Literally the First Amendment.
well,
The First Amendment literally says peaceably
Yep,
assemble.
Peaceable assembly.
Not violently assemble.
Oh my goodness.
I can't imagine how regular Americans must feel right now. I couldn't even imagine, because we have the luxury of our business has just kept going.
Do you see that vote that's going around, the poll on Twitter?
Which one?
If the election was tomorrow, who would you vote for? What do you think? Who do you think is what do you think the percentage is? Biden or Trump?
Trump.
By how much?
I don't know. A few points.
Make a guess. A few points?
By 6 points.
Small amount? No,
25
it's like
points.
75% of the people who voted was Trump.
But how many lefties have seen it?
I don't know.
Get it into some lefty circles. And
If
see.
it's
I people say I'm lefty. I thought I was lefty for the longest time. I am on a lot of left versus
You're
right
totally
issues.
lefty, dude.
I totally am.
Yep.
I click Trump.
yeah.
I would.
Yep.
That's no
Biden's
question
the
right
last
now.
thing we need.
there was a Democrat stronghold in Minnesota. CNN actually covered this. That votes for Democrats locally and voted for Trump nationally. And it's, people don't realize that Trump ran as a moderate. Even Matthew Iglesias of Vox.com said Trump is a moderate.
Yeah.
So what's your choice? Lunacy or moderate? Trump's got personality defects, and that's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
But his policy-wise, he sounds very much like Democrats sound, aside from the fact that he talks in a strange way.
Yeah.
He says silly things. He says a lot of stupid things.
I mean,
Indeed.
he's a reality TV
I know.
star,
I know.
and that shows.
It really does.
But he is kind of like a Democrat from like the 90s.
People have compared him to Bill Clinton in the good ways and the bad ways.
The good ways and
For
the
real.
bad ways. Yeah.
And it's
That's a good point.
right.
That's a good point.
Yep. So, I what are your choices right now, man?
Yeah.
He did an interview recently where he was like, "Look at Biden. How far left has he gone?"
Well, that's a fair point.
They're nuts.
Why are these armed police guards killing these people? They should shoot them in the leg.
Like what?
Okay,
No,
Grandpa.
they shouldn't pull their gun at all. You know?
Figure something else
Like,
out.
what? Why would you go there?
Shoot him
that
in the
guy-
legs.
guy's
Because he
lost
clearly
his-
didn't ask anybody about real policy and real reform.
Right.
I got to be honest. That's something I would have said a couple years ago. I probably did.
Right.
Why can't you just shoot him in the legs? I think I said it like a month ago.
Like if you are going to pull your gun.
Yeah.
And if they are charging you.
So I'll tell you what, man. Yeah, so I think we were talking about this like a month ago, and I said shoot to wound, and everyone was like, no.
yeah,
no.
if you're going to pull your weapon, a weapon is used to stop the threat.
Well,
for good.
Right.
Yeah.
The issue is you're trained for center mass, and you're shooting to kill.
Yeah.
And if you try and start targeting extremities, you could injure other people.
It could be worse.
It can be
Right.
worse. So it's like you have to be ready and quick. There's a lot of other reasons I'm not going to get into, but
Yeah.
I'm not a politician running trying to reform the police department.
I know, it's a good
I'm a dude who
point.
complains on the internet who's like, here's what I think, and then people were like, you're wrong, and I was like, oh man, that's a good point.
Yep.
Joe Biden's like, here's my policy plans. I've thought about nothing. I've asked no one, and I didn't even Google it.
That was a little Clinton.
Yeah,
Little
that
Clinton?
was a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a little
I don't know
more,
how Joe Biden talks. He just has blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's
You know,
Gobble, gobble.
much better.
blah, blah, blah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's better.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's your Biden.
That guy, man, it's getting creepy watching how they're trying to like. It's just
Weekend at Bernie's him.
Yeah, exactly. Put him in sunglasses
That's
and just put
really
him in front
what's
of the
going
podium.
on. It's crazy.
Seriously.
Weekends at Bernie's him.
He's wearing his mask wrong.
Yeah. Oh.
yeah.
It's like, dude, if there was COVID on that mask, you'd have
You
COVID
did.
now. Mm-hmm. All right.
Some people didn't even think it was him because he comes
I
out with
know.
a mask and sunglasses.
Right.
It's like, who's that guy? Whatever.
It's a robot.
Here we go. Where are we at?
No. It wouldn't be a robot because a robot would probably be more articulate.
Animated cadaver.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Someone
Oscar-
have to hold him though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oscar Corneo says, no stopping this train, I think. Social media too infectious. People having their bills paid and nothing to do. Videos of violence being shared with no regard for the safety of others. Cold War type of escalation. That's a good point, man. A lot of these people make a living off of this. And they accuse me of being a grifter, and it's like, bro, let me tell you something. I could easily just make videos about anything else. In fact, I will tell you this right now. There is so much more money to be made doing Minecraft videos.
Yep.
Literally anything else. And then I have to risk censorship and getting shut down. No, I talk about this stuff because I want to. But there are a lot of people on Twitter who don't have monetization, so they put links to PayPal. And they make money. You make a viral nasty tweet and you put a PayPal, people pay you. And so that's the engine that's
Why would
fueling
they
a lot of this.
monetize that?
Well, they did.
That's amazing.
Too Fat to Fly says, Tim, have you heard about the massive riots In Zeke, Scotland, the rioters are hailing objects off the roofs of buildings at people. They're calling it Zeke hail. What? Can you look that up?
What? Yeah. Holy cow.
Benjamin Stevens says, Tim and crew, keep being sexy.
Okay.
We will.
All right.
Chaotic says, hello there, Super Beanie Bros and Lydia of Whiterun. Hope you're well. These riots are making me angry. I think he means me angry. I've been looking to America to lead the West back into freedom. Nah, we're falling apart, man. We are falling apart. Andrew Holker says, in Minneapolis last night, the protest was totally peaceful. Hot dogs, burgers, prominent community members on the bullhorn telling everyone to vote out our Democrat leaders and vote against gun control. Wait, what? Really?
Vote against gun control.
And vote against gun control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, against gun control.
Yeah.
Dude, did you hear?
That's awesome.
The Missouri Attorney General said that all of the looters and rioters they arrested were people who were released from prisons by the Democrat.
Wow. I called it. Didn't I say?
It.
Didn't I say that?
Yep. Of course we did. That's
I said it. I said it.
That's crazy.
I called it, man.
It's just kind of so obvious.
It's like they wanted this to happen. There's something. I mean, people keep tweeting about this Hillary court case yesterday and blackout. I don't know. I don't know enough about it that we would have done a subject today. But
Listen, man.
I see it, and I don't know enough about it, but I don't know, man.
Think about it. If they wanted this to happen,
Obamagate.
Hold on, look. If you wanted to argue that letting out prisoners was to ensure this happened, you'd be arguing they want to help Trump.
I think, but I'm seeing them blame Trump for this. They're trying to pitch it on Trump. They're like, all right, go incite violence. Trump, you did this. Bah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like standing back. I'm like, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Maybe.
I don't know if it's true or not.
It's like, I think they're just morons.
Maybe.
I think they're absolute moron NPCs staying in a T-pose until someone walks in the room and then they go, release the prisoners. And you're like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, it didn't make sense during the COVID crisis. We were all like, why are they doing this? Why are they releasing prisoners and arresting people for going to the park?
Right. To be fair, I did say there's questions of constitutionality of locking someone up if there's potential for an infectious disease.
Yeah.
Like if we knew they would get an infectious disease in this prison, do we have a responsibility to move them somewhere else? The problem was that we later learned that lockdown made things worse. So locking people in their homes and releasing prisoners made literally no sense because you were putting the prisoners into homes where they would get infected. That was insane. So it's like the aftermath of all of this is that they let up prisoners. These people went and rioted in St. Louis and got arrested again. Mm-hmm. And now the AG's like, oh yeah, look at that. That was predictable. It's like, what's going to happen? Trump's got his easiest path towards shutting down the borders. COVID happened. Borders shut down.
Yep.
What happened to the wall? Remember the wall?
Yeah, you started saying this earlier. You said who has the most to gain, and
who's gaining the most from this?
Who's gaining the most
Trump.
from this? Trump is.
I
see all this anti-Trump stuff, and it's like that's been the case
right
since he showed his face on the presidential race. It was just anti-Trump, and it's like, well, it didn't work then, and now you've basically just red-pilled everybody.
Well, here's my favorite conspiracy theory. I often say it's not really, but I often say it's my favorite. Here's a conspiracy theory that I find interesting. It's that Trump actually is an insider, and that he was positioned as an outsider who couldn't win, so that all of the disaffected right-wingers would rally behind him and feel like they're taking back their government, an inversion to Obama. That's so the idea is that as long as Trump is considered constantly at odds and in a weakened position, people will rally behind him saying, hey man, this is creepy, this is not fair. The blind liberals will be blind liberals, and the disaffected, so think about who voted for Trump. Those people who didn't vote before, now voting. We're talking about record voter turnout. This actually got a bunch of people engaged. So it's an entertaining thought. I don't think it's true. I think they despise this man and hate his guts, and I think they're more likely to be morons than anything else.
Yeah.
But I do think it's fascinating, this idea that Trump is benefiting from everything they do. And it's true. Like the impeachment, he raised record amount of money. So they're doing all of these things that make people rally behind Trump while treating him like an outsider. And meanwhile, both Democrats and Republicans vote to expand FISA powers. How does that make sense?
Nope.
It was like 84 people voted yes. It's like Trump is a dictator and he should have more spying power. You know?
Well,
and all the guns.
That's where it becomes more of like the establishment as a whole. You know, then the people that they don't care Democrat or Republican, they just want that power and they want to maintain that power.
Establishment.
The establishment.
The weird machine.
Yeah, you know, it's like that can mean a lot of things, but you know, it's almost like just a step back from Republican and Democrats, and they're like, we don't care, we have the power, whatever.
I think it's a fascinating conspiracy theory.
On this note though, before I don't want to lose it, it's like it feels like Trump is upsetting their status quo.
Definitely.
Like hands down, everything he does, it pisses them off, you know. And they're cozying up with China, you know.
Yep.
That's like I see Hillary talking about like, you know, being homies with China. It's like, yeah, but they paid you a lot of money when you were in the government, in a position of power.
The Clinton Foundation.
Yeah,
They were giving.
well through.
Was China doing it? I don't know a lot about the numbers from China. I know Saudi Arabia was.
Well, I know I dug into it a little bit, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot, and it's kind of frightening how cozy she is with him. It's when I saw that video of her saying, well, why shouldn't we have China like hack Trump's emails then, you know? And I was like, what are you saying, you know? Anyway,
So-
it's basically, you know, it feels like that's why the mainstream media is trying to, you know, they're the establishment also. It's like that's their puppet, their speaker system to the masses.
I want to address this super chat that just came in simply because it's on point with what we're just talking about. Saying,
Okay.
King of Diamonds says, Tim, you're wrong about making money in Minecraft. I upload Minecraft videos and get like 10 views, but when I upload some video I lazily put together, like UEBS, I get 1,000 views. There's market saturation in Minecraft and a bunch of other channels, but the reality is, I do 6 segments, so it's like 3 hours and 40 minutes of content every day.
Mm-hmm.
I would make a lot more money if I used all of my resources and power to be producing entertainment content, be it Minecraft or otherwise. There are a lot of other political channels that are very good, don't get nearly the amount of traffic or subscribers or growth because they don't work nearly as much or as hard. That's no offense to them. It's the reality. I take no days off, ever. It's like when I have to, when my throat doesn't work and I can't talk.
Yeah,
Only time it happens.
you were working yesterday all day.
Yeah, I had to take some ibuprofen.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, I better not
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, because I think it's allergies. But anyway, the point is, I have made content that's been about movies that is just like, I wake up and it's got like 300, 400K, and I'm like, wow, man. If I you know, just, because look, man, political stuff gets demonetized. It's been a lot better lately because things have been improving for whatever. Maybe it's just me.
I can't wait to talk about movies anymore.
Yeah,
Again,
right.
You know,
Yep.
I can't wait.
But it's worth more. What you got to understand about how ads work. Right now, politics are getting views because people are looking at politics.
Yeah.
After November, well, it may actually get crazier.
Yeah.
But typically what happens is people want to buy ads, and they don't want to buy ads on things like Riot. They want to buy ads on things like Happy Fluffy Bunny and Kids. Puppy sing, you know, barks I love you. That's what they want to buy ads on. So look at the videos that get the most traffic. Nursery rhymes for kids. Look at all of the YouTubers who did that stupid Elsa Spider-Man thing. They made money. They made mad money. Politics is a dangerous game, and you're not safe. You can make YouTube videos about, you know, Minecraft or video games or streaming, and if you work hard and you're good enough and you develop it over a long period of time, you will become successful, and you have very little risk that YouTube will purge you because you're family friendly.
So that's right. Just do more diamonds. Pump them out. Pump them out.
Get better and better. Just you know, it's not. It's. There's no guarantee that everybody makes it. I don't know how else to describe it other than, you know, when I first started doing this, I wasn't thinking about anything other than what's the next video. It's like do something every single day, no matter what.
You know, I got to say though, you have a really strong personality, Tim.
Oh, does he?
And yeah, and that has a lot to do with popular channels. Like I've been watching Crowder a little more, and like, dude's got a personality. Like
Yeah.
he's
totally.
goofy. He's got like he's got a personality people like, and that's why he's got 4 million followers or subscribers. That has to come into play. It's not. It isn't just
earn it.
persistence. Yes, you do earn it, but it's like
Dude,
telling
Go
someone.
watch my videos, man. Go
What?
watch my old videos,
Yeah.
and they're awful.
Okay.
They're
You
like
mean
this.
you started
They're
out
like,
bad?
Today, I saw there was the talk about Trump, who, you know, he was talking about this bill.
I
It's
doubt.
like-
I doubt it was that bad.
It's bad. And like the really early stuff from years ago, dude, it's bad.
Okay.
It's like doing this every single day for hours. You get more comfortable, you get relaxed, you get better at it, you read faster. I remember all of the other stories I've read, so now everything's like instant recall.
Right.
Yeah, it's just built up over years of training and exercise. And so, you know, I worked for Vice. I saved money. I worked for Fusion. I saved money. I left, used that money, and it was all going down as I was doing this, and then slowly leveled out and then started going up. and then my content has been slowly improving.
Yeah, but your personality is still laced with in all of your videos.
It is,
You're
but,
still
like-
Tim Pool. You still have a wit, that I appreciate. That's why we became friends.
Yeah, but my early videos were very, very, like, so much weaker. Mm-hmm. Like, now it's like I'll crack jokes and, I can go with things, but it's just I go way better than I used to.
Okay.
Dude, beginning of last
I'm not saying that
No,
you're.
check it out,
I'm not saying you're not right. I'm saying that there is an aspect that
For sure.
you're not talking about.
No, I agree, but I think people can earn it. They can build that up.
Okay.
Beginning of last year until May, my videos were edited, meaning I would turn the camera on, I would say a line, stop, look at my script, look at my stories, say a line, stop, then look over and record, and then I have to edit it all together. It would take like 2 hours to put a 10-minute segment together.
Ugh.
Then I started getting better and better, and I just hit record, and I'm like, and it's just done.
That's what it's
That's
like.
that is literally what he does, everyone.
It's true.
I just turn the camera on, and I'm like, I have no script or
It's
nothing.
true.
Just over
talking.
time.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
so
it's funny.
I do believe that anyone can do it.
Okay.
But I think I have benefits from, for one, my personality that benefits me is arrogance. That's really it. I've done so many things throughout my life where I've ignored everyone else and went headstrong, traveled different countries, learned things, seen things, experienced things, and it helped me out in starting everything I'm doing.
A lot of people are poking fun at me of trying to compliment you. I actually, it wasn't even about Tim. I'm talking about the people who are trying to make it in a environment that is literally about you being a personality and doing something. So, when it comes to you need a spark, a little something for people to want to watch you. You need to have something that, like, I'm not going to go search for a Minecraft video and watch a video that's boring and nothing's happening. It's like but if it's a person who's like, oh man, a zombie, blah blah, blah, like, and it's like, it's entertaining. It's like, okay, it's entertaining. You
look at old PewDiePie videos.
You're saying that anyone can just earn that. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Dude, look at Mr. Beast. You know who that is?
No, I don't.
He's one of the biggest YouTubers right now.
Okay.
He's nuts. He made a video recently where he gave a pizza guy a house.
Oh, that you showed me that. Okay. Yeah.
Look at his early videos.
Okay.
It's nonsense. It's like it's him just doing weird, unrelated things, and eventually he found his space.
Yeah.
So I think there's the COVID. I think you can earn it if
Thanks,
you work
Tim.
hard enough. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to consider the cards you've been dealt, the skills you need to develop, and the persistence. You need a combination of factors.
Boom.
And then here's what happens, right? So in the past couple of days, I've gotten a million, probably I think 2 million views per day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. So no, it was like 1.8 million views in a day.
All right,
then 2
Tim.
million. No, I'm
Okay.
bringing this up for a reason.
All right, Tim.
There's a reason.
Stop. I'm bringing this up for a reason.
All right.
These are 50 to 60, 70% higher than normal. Like, ridiculous. I'm like looking at the numbers on YouTube and I'm like, what is going on? Because I've been working so hard, because I work every single day, when something like this happens, right place, right time. Big boost in viewership, live viewership goes up, everything goes up.
Yeah.
If you don't work hard, you miss the opportunities. So there are a lot of days where it's rough, and you're pushing as hard as you can, and you're like, man, is this it? This is too difficult. But you get through it, and then one day, all of a sudden, because you are working, chance favors the prepared, and everybody else who wasn't working,
I agree.
They missed the train.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
We better read some super chats.
Yeah, we do need to do that.
Andrew Holker says, we did read that one. Jared Houston says, please, Tim, take a look at this lady during the NY protests. I cannot click the link, but maybe it's the lady talking about her business. Callum Rowlandson says, all the kids on the middle high school sports team I coach are posting crazy, mindless leftist propaganda. I'm so sad because the good influence I thought I was having seems pointless up against social media.
Yep.
I agree, man. That's how I feel talking to my friends. Joseph Sordy. Actually, but look, go to my Twitter. You can follow me at Timcast. And take that tweet, scroll down a bit, you'll find it, the one where they're all chanting the gooble gobble, whatever, and just send it to people. And then just and make fun of it. Humor and ridicule is one of the most powerful tools.
Mm-hmm.
So
smash that like button.
when you show it to them, you just start laughing at how creepy and stupid these people are. And you go, look how dumb they are. These people are so stupid. Like, dude, I'm going to stand here and just mindlessly repeat people. Dude, get a life. And then people don't want to be losers. So
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, that is dumb. Those people are dumb. And that's how you do it.
And
The
influence
reason
people.
they're holding their hands up and chanting is because they don't want to be losers. But also you can follow Adam too.
Oh, yeah.
Smash the like button.
Yes.
Follow
All
me.
these things.
Follow me. Hit me up.
Follow these
Send me
gentlemen.
stories. I got some. You got a direct link
Yeah, so
to the show.
Adam puts up pinned tweets for you to suggest stories and ideas that we often use in the show, images, and that's actually how we got the shirts. The Harumph Say shirt came
That's
from
true.
That
Yep.
coolest
someone sent it to
shirt.
Adam.
Send me some art too.
Yeah,
And-
man.
That also works.
And you can click the link in the description below if you want the Harumph Say shirt. We are currently waiting for the Adam and Lydia shirts,
yeah,
which
that
will be
one's
coming soon.
underway.
But you can also follow Sour Patch Lids
Oh yeah. Here I am
for
in the
spicy
corner.
memes at Sour
Spicy
Patch
memes.
Lids.
I like to talk to people.
She's
And-
not just spicy memes though. Come on.
I'm just saying that to be
Mostly.
silly.
That's my entire personality at this
Spicy
point.
meme.
It's true. It's okay.
The I'm helping meme with Ralph Wiggum. That's so good. I love that. I'm like, that's a little too much for me. I posted there's a comic where a guy's holding a Black Lives Matter sign. It's a black guy.
Okay.
And the next one is a white guy walks up saying all lives matter. And then
Oh, yeah.
the next one is a metalhead walks up saying no lives matter.
And then they all start rocking out.
Rocking out.
Just start moshing.
The reason I really like that though is it shows you that like getting away from both ideologies resulted in all of them having a good time together.
Right.
So it's like when it was about all lives versus black lives, they were mad at each other. But when the metalhead was like, no one matters, then they were all jamming. I'm like, I kind of dig it. It's
I
like,
do
get
it
rid of the
too.
ideology. Let's just hang out, bro.
I dig it.
It's good.
Listen
No
to
one
music.
matters. What
Yeah.
are we? We're nothing. Carbon.
Joseph Sorty says, Dad's a cop. We live in Connecticut. Email from the department says Antifa is now going through government payroll records to get addresses of cops everywhere to target them in their homes.
No way.
Seeing as I still live at home, not going to lie, I'm on edge. They do that. They've done it. And yes, they published a ton of information, hackers did, from the Minnesota Police Department. And I will tell you, I'm in a really bad mood. I didn't tell you this yet.
No.
I got bad news for you, bro.
Oh god.
You're going to get angry.
Try me.
Antifa crossed the line. They have crossed a line so egregious. I got an email today from the company where I ordered that quarter pipe.
Okay.
And you know what they said?
What?
Due to Antifa activities near the skate facility that manufactures the surfacing material, they've had to evacuate and now have postponed possibly for 2 weeks.
I quit.
All right.
No.
That's not going to stop
over.
Antifa.
Oh,
I'm done.
Adam's leaving. That's it.
This is
Arms up
no,
in
no.
the
This
air.
is for real though. This is for real. I got an email. This is the craziest thing to me. It's from a skateboard company that used the word Antifa. They didn't say protest or anything.
Yeah.
It literally said due to Antifa.
Activities.
No, it was like incidents involving Antifa or
Yeah.
something. The facility where we manufacture our surfacing material was evacuated.
Wow.
We're hoping to get you your materials as soon as possible, but unfortunately, due to these circumstances, it's being delayed. And it's now going to be another more than a week before they even get the materials.
Wow.
Antifa, because of your shenanigans, I can't get my skate ramp.
Terrorists.
Indeed.
It's
This
not
is
the
why
line,
they
I'm
were
kidding.
designated that way.
I don't care about waiting the week. It's stupid. I'm annoyed with it, but whatever, man. It's not the biggest deal. I know they're all screaming like, Tim, racial justice is much more important than your skate ramp. Shut
It's
up,
a
LARPer.
joke.
Well, for the record, the skate ramp. I was out there today. It works.
It works.
Still works,
It's
everybody.
perfect.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
Tim, we're fine.
We're getting a little one. It's got wheels on it and stuff, and
Just to launch off. Yeah.
yeah, like some launch, some grabs, and some fun.
I'm gonna launch it.
Man, do you see the video of the tourniquet?
Oh,
No, what?
No.
You know, I tell you what, man, these kids are LARPing.
What
There's a
is it?
kid who gets hit with a rubber bullet in the leg,
Okay.
and he gets surface layer abrasion.
Contusion or an
Contusion
abrasion.
or an abrasion.
Yeah,
Okay.
little piece of skin.
Oh, he's
came
bleeding.
off. He is bleeding.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And they put a tourniquet really close to the wound on his thigh, and he's crying, saying, "I don't want to lose my
Top
leg
of
to
his
the tourniquet."
lungs.
And they're like, "But we don't want you to bleed out, man," or something like that.
That's funny. The tourniquet would make him lose his leg if they
Right.
did it
Yes.
correctly.
So if you continue
No,
down.
no matter what, a tourniquet can take your leg away. It's,
Yeah.
it's-
It-
so it's,
yeah, exactly.
I'm sitting here looking at
Wait,
this.
what?
His skin is scraped from a rubber bullet, and there's some blood.
Yep.
And they're applying gauze. That's it. And they put a tourniquet on his leg. These people are acting out scenes from a movie they saw when they were kids. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no training. Man, if I saw that, I'd freak out. I'd be like, "Get that off his leg. Are you nuts?"
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, what probably happened was they put it on for no reason, applied the gauze, and then took it off because they're morons. They didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
But in the event that they were like, "We got to stop the bleeding," and they left it on, what happens is that the muscle starts dying
Yep.
and starts toxifying. And if it goes too long and you take it off, it rushes into your bloodstream and you can die.
You just poisoned yourself.
But you do have high-end 6 hours, but it can be bad within 2.
Wow.
So when I did the training, they said it's last resort if someone's going to die, because you can lose your leg. And they said, you want to keep it within 45 minutes. If you're not solving it by then, you need to start considering whether or not you're going to loosen this, take it off, and try and do something else. Because, if someone's going to die, then they're going to lose their leg. That's it,
Wow.
These kids are dumb. They are so dumb.
All right.
Here we are. Chonky Honky says, don't let current events distract you from the fact that Joe Biden sharted during a live interview.
That is the most important thing.
Good point.
Hands
Yes.
down, my favorite episode
That was
of last month.
So
I love
funny.
it. And people were making fun of me. They were like, I was ignoring the police brutality while talking about Joe Biden's fart. And I'm like, bro, that's like hour 3 and 40 minutes of all of the content I've done.
Right.
It's like, you're concerned about the joke I made.
Yeah.
Have a nice day, buddy.
Yeah.
Vintage Plays says, think of the multitude of DNC gaffes that are being filtered out by the riots. Obamagate, Russiagate, Ukrainegate, Chloroquine-gate. Adam Schiff is perhaps the happiest man on earth right now.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Joseph Spiro says, not even happy to be staying sane because it's so lonely. Feels impossible to have an honest conversation with anyone anymore. Apparently required to join a delusional cult first, which I can't do. You know what, man? People say thanks for keeping me sane and all that stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I get it. I really do. Like when I posted the video of them doing the Google Gobble thing and I said, I'm not joining your cult.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people were like, thank you for posting this. Mm-hmm. Because when you're surrounded by people who are yelling Google Gobble at you, and then you can see that people exist who are like, we're not in a cult. If you feel like you're not alone, you're not lost.
It really helps.
Wait, I'm not crazy?
Yeah.
You know what, though?
It is a sigh of relief.
I have this really annoying guy who always tweets at me for some reason.
Okay.
I'm not going to block him or anything, but I just roll my eyes. He's so dumb. He's a verified blue checky on Twitter with like almost no followers because this is what you got to be concerned about. They talk about the blue check marks and they make fun of them.
What does it mean anyway?
Verified Twitter user. It means
all.
Twitter has chosen you as a famous person. That's all it really means. For real, that's what it means.
Oh, okay.
And so, look, I'm verified on Twitter, and I'm not one of these morons. But these people get verified and they have like 500 followers.
Okay.
That's really strange.
How? Yeah. What?
Because Twitter, chooses them.
Interesting.
But this guy tweets something dumb, and he's like, "Are you even seeing what's going on, Tim? Have you even been on the ground or out of your house? You have to realize what's happening around you." And I'm like, I'm not going to respond to him. I'm not going to say his name, but I'll say here. Just drove across the country and back. I was out for for like 2.5, 3 weeks. Went to LA and was hanging out and talking to people the entire way through the entire country. I know more about what's happening in this country than you do sitting in your little Los Angeles
You
apartment.
talked to everyone. It was great.
Yeah, for real. It's like these people think their cult from social media is real life.
Yep.
Nah,
They do.
Sad.
you're not real life, dude. Go to the suburbs, man. D9512. Soy Jesus plus Gun Jesus. Ian from Forgotten Weapons. Crossover when?
Yes.
Gun Jesus.
I need like 2 big AKs. You know the guy? What was that? Thor Valkyrie. The guy who's like, these are my guns.
what was his name?
I forget what they called him, but I just picture me just like carrying them. Like,
Yeah, what did he say they were?
Yes.
He had way too much ammo in those guns, by the way.
I know.
That annoyed me.
Yeah.
It's like you found 2 guns with 2 clips. What's in each of them? Like 15, 16?
And how is it still working? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny.
But he eventually does run out. But after like 100 rounds.
You know
or
what?
something.
I'm spinning the UFO for you.
All right, let's do it.
Sean Williams says, Antifa are domestic terrorists and enemies of the U.S. Providing aid and comfort to the enemy is treason. Bailing out rioters is providing aid. We have a presidential campaign committing treason. Well, I think that's a little over the top, but not too... The issue is Antifa... I think the problem with the media and the left is that they're taking Trump literally on saying Antifa is a terrorist organization instead of what it really means. It was a tweet, bro. Did you look into what they actually said? Bill Barr released a big statement about tracking down far-left extremists who are organizing and fundraising. That's what they really meant. I think it's funny when I see all these people I know are posting on Facebook the Antifa copy and paste propaganda. It just means you're anti-fascist. And so I respond to them, and like these are people I know. These are friends of mine, so they're respectful, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that. Thank you." And I said, "Listen, what they're really saying is that the individuals who are being caught engaging in violence, what's going to be added to that is political motivation. If you get someone who throws a brick through a window to steal a T-shirt, that's looting, vandalism, whatever, breaking and entering.
Yeah.
If you add the fact that they communicate regularly with ideological extremists, receive funding from, or give funding to, you've now added a terror charge
That
to
is
that.
the definition of terror.
Right. I think the principal legal definition they use.
Yeah.
I was like, all that means is that individual will be charged under those statutes. They're not going to find a group of people who say they're Antifa and be like, we're locking you all up. No, they're going to be like the individual who broke the law. We're adding this to the consideration. It's like a hate crime, almost.
Yeah.
You know? It's like it's illegal to punch someone if you punch someone for, hate-related reasons, I'm talking about the legal, well, then you get different charges. I don't necessarily agree with it, but let's see. Louis says, hey, Tim, I went to Bass Pro Shop here in the People's Republic of Howard County, Maryland. They were down to only a couple dozen rifles and shotguns left. Most of the racks were empty. When COVID first started, all the guns were stripped from, that was at Dick's. It was a bunch of weapons.
Yeah,
and bows.
No, they were shotguns.
The shotguns were gone.
There was at least 100 shotguns lining the shelf.
They had them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
when we
okay.
first went there,
Yeah.
they had them.
I thought they were gone.
And then we went back.
And they were gone.
2 weeks later? Was it two? I think it was 2 weeks later. All gone. Every single one of them. I was like, there was guns there, right?
Yeah.
And the person behind the counter was like,
Yep.
there was.
Dude, it's not easy to buy. It's not easy to buy a gun in New Jersey.
No.
There's some better states for it.
Indeed.
Let's see. Joe Gilmore says, don't let these riots distract you from the fact that Biden let loot a massive and sad fart during a live interview. Also, I bought a gun yesterday because 2020 has proven I can't trust anyone. Yeah. It's really, really funny seeing all of these leftists, all these liberals, I should say leftists, wake up to be like, I need a gun now.
Yep.
Like all of these protests, everything's gone. Like even me, honestly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Where are we at? Connor says, greetings, Tim and crew. In Zen Buddhist pot smoking I'm a Zen Buddhist pot smoking lefty, libertarian hippie in the state of Maine, which is so far mostly peaceful, even with protests going on mostly peacefully. But even I bought a gun today. Nice. And that says a lot, man. Yep. But Maine is an excellent state for gun rights. My understanding is there's concealed carry with no permit.
Okay.
Like if you have an ID for the state, you can walk right in and be like, one gun, sir. And then, they still have the federal laws.
Yeah.
But then when you have it, you can put it in your shirt and do your thing.
Right on.
But I think the most important thing for everybody, even myself, is I did that basic training. Mm-hmm. I did one. No, I'm going to definitely hit up some instructors. I'm definitely going to hit up some of the personalities.
Fun.
Actually, one of the ranges, because I was looking for ranges around before COVID basically started happening, and there's a bunch around us, and one of them was actually the owner shot somebody who was trying to break in. This happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But that was in Philly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of the closest ranges is actually right across.
I'd
it's
love
in
to
the
interview
city.
that guy.
It's in the
I don't know if
city
you
of
want to
Philly.
do it though. Make yourself make yourself a target. It depends on how ideologically driven the person may be. If it were me, I'd be like, bring on the camera. I'm gonna let everybody know you come to my shop. This is what you get. But some people might be like, listen, I got a family.
Yeah.
I just want to lie low and do my thing. But I have to imagine that experiencing all of that, it's really going to embolden a lot of people and activate them, for better or for worse.
I think for better, but I'm optimistic in
No,
general.
I mean for worse in the sense that some people take it to a dark place, and they might be like, it's me and nobody else versus I need to defend my community. Like the Hank Newsom thing with we need to arm and defend our own communities is a positive thing.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
negative is the people saying I'm going to go loot all these stores because it's going crazy.
But those groups are going to be like, no, you're not looting this neighborhood.
Yep.
And then they'll go to the next neighborhood where there's another community of the same kind of people. It's like, okay, so enough of that. That's why it's a good thing.
I hope so. There's still fears that misunderstandings can lead to, I guess violence. Yeah. But I'm more optimistic than that. I think if people have a sense of purpose and responsibility,
boom,
these people who are being trained are going to have a patriarchal presence of somebody being like, here's what you do, here's why you do it. And there's going to be a sense of nobility and honor in that. They'll have respect.
It's wonderful.
They'll have respect.
I'm
worried though, because people might abuse it. There's going to be people who want power shouldn't have it. All right, let's see where we're at. Menace Blue says, hey y'all, I recently emailed a letter to the Timcast website about Toms River, New Jersey peaceful protest and the somewhat diminishing support towards Trump from minorities who originally voted for him. Thanks for all you do. Really interesting. I think people have said to me recently that I don't realize how close it is, that Trump might actually lose. But I think that actually is a fair point. I think Trump is going to win. And when I say Trump landslide, it's more of just like a half joke, more of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
But I think Trump is going to win. But I do think it's not as clear cut, especially with all of the people we know posting stupid leftist memes that make no sense.
Yeah.
A lot of these people are going to blindly walk in the booth and go D across the board.
Yeah.
I got to say, man, I will not vote for Biden. That's a fact. Trump, we'll see.
Yep.
But 2A, man, wow. After seeing all of this, you can't deny it, man. I think everyone's pro 2A at this point.
Yep.
I've basically.
I mean, I always was, but
Well, because here let me,
I still am.
well, let me put it this way. I've always been pro for it, but
Okay.
I've been this like reasonable liberal, like, well, maybe we can have a conversation about certain regulations. That's all changed. You know why? The ideas that I had in my mentality a couple of years ago about restrictions on guns and everything was based on the premise that things are relatively peaceful and calm. It was a naive worldview of living in a bubble.
Yep.
Now that the place I live, we have helicopters flying overhead and there's ransacking across the country. It's kind of changed my perspective, pretty fiercely, where it's like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You have to be able to protect yourself. That's it. Because
Agreed.
the police could not do it.
Yeah, they straight
No,
up
I mean, the
left.
cop straight up told me when he came here that one time, he was like, if it were me, I'd have a shotgun. I'm like, I get what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
So that's been like a big wake up call, but not just for me, dude, because these people lining up at gun stores.
What was it? 40% of these guns
First-time
sold in
buyers.
the past 3
Yeah.
months, first-time buyers.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
And in a lot of liberal districts,
Mm-hmm.
these people are buying guns, man. Hey, for hopefully for the good, for the better. Lotus and Meyer says, I have friends in the military. Your thoughts on the military joining the protesters on the issue if asked to fire on civilians without cause? Enjoy your content. Spin the UFO.
I heard that.
It depends. I've talked to different people in the armed forces, and I've gotten a couple different responses. Some people have told me under no circumstances would they fire on American protesters. Like if you're in the National Guard or the Army and your commanding officer said, open fire. And I've had a lot of people say like, no way, dude, I would never do that. I swore an oath to the Constitution. I can understand the First Amendment and all that stuff. And we have a duty to disobey orders that we think are illegal and stuff like that. But I've also talked to other people who said, definitely 100%. And I asked them, if there was a group of protesters and your commanding officer said, aim, open fire, whatever, would you do it? And they were like, definitely. You know why? I have no idea why I need to. And if I second guess them and it turns out this person was a terrorist or had a bomb or something, and then everyone loses their lives, I can only trust in the chain of command and trust in them to make sure we're doing the right thing. And I'm like, those are two. I understand the argument for both. I do. And I think it is a very, very difficult place to be in.
I agree.
Because it is a good point. If they're telling you like, look, man, trust me, you know me. It's not like some random guy shows up and says, go kill people. It's like, no, it's your CEO. You know them.
Yep.
You either trust them or you don't. And if they tell you to do something, but I can't say that I've gotten. I don't think there's one cohesive worldview, other than swearing an oath to the Constitution means most of them probably would be very cautious about anything related to shooting an American in any way.
True.
But hey, man, we've seen what happens in the Middle East with drone strikes and Obama.
Yep.
So, all right, let's see. I have to do this because we just had too many, and I gotta admit we rant too much. So I'm gonna jump down. Me, for sure. But that's why you come listen, right? But I do apologize. We can't get all your super chats. Honestly, I do think we have to do some kind of super chat reform because we're just getting, to be honest, as awesome as it is that you're all watching, too many views
Thank you, everybody, though.
and too many super chats come in, and it's hard to actually get the super chats in.
Yeah, it's true.
So we just got a super chat in from Hank William, who said, the only Democrat I would ever vote for would be Jon Stewart. How do you and Joe still support that corrupt party? I think the far left and the right have more in common than either do with the establishment. What do you think about that take? I no longer support any Democrats at all. This was back during like impeachment and COVID, and I was completely done with it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember we did an episode, and I was just like, nah, I'm out and completely out. Just cut me out of it.
Yeah.
It's all corrupt. And the fear is that I get all these text messages from Democratic campaigns.
Okay.
And it's funny how some will be like, we are fighting the establishment Democrats, and we got an endorsement from this progressive, and they'll get another text saying we're fighting against a far left, blah blah blah, and I'm like, I don't like either of you at this point, but I respond to all of them the same thing. Listen, when the moderate Democrats who pledged to fight for American issues won, they turned around and just impeached Trump, and so my fear is that no matter what happens, any dollar, any investment in these people will be an investment into shenanigans and nonsensical political, tribalism. So no, count me out, 100%. I'm not getting involved with those people anymore. Sorry, not interested. Let's see. We'll do a super. Okay, hit the like button. We've gone over because
Smash
I have a
that
problem
like
with
button.
ranting too much, and I
Well,
apologize.
the first step is admitting.
That's true.
So I'm
That's
really
Acknowledging the
really
problem.
proud of you,
Yeah.
Tim. Really proud.
So yes, I do apologize. We're not going to be able to get to every super chat because
We got a big super chat here. Uriel says, "Hey guy, Ridgecrest, California just got a 5.9 earthquake. I live 2 hours away and felt it."
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
5.9 is pretty strong, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
that is strong.
Yeah.
Good luck,
It's
dude.
a strong.
Stay safe.
that one just came in.
No, it was a while ago, but it's a relatively hefty super
Oh,
chat.
right on.
So
Much
I felt,
appreciated.
I can
Felt like
try to make sure we get to those who
lot of the hefty
contributed
ones.
the best. I really hate doing it, but
Yeah. Now go up from there because that's that's that one.
But if you haven't already, smash the like button. CJ says, "Congratulations to the new federal state of China." That's where we're
man.
headed, man.
Not if we
Yep.
can help it though.
Oh man.
The Laparty says, "I'm glad you picked up some self-protection. I was the one who mentioned the responsibility of each bullet fired. I'm glad you took that to heart. Love the show and stay safe. It is an extremely, extremely important point."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's a very funny meme of a regular suburban backyard.
Okay.
And the fence is riddled with bullets, and there's a target painted on it, and there's like a little girl holding a rifle pointing at it. On the other side is houses. And like it's funny because a lot of like lefty liberals saw this and thought it was real.
Oh,
And that was the joke. I guess the conservatives and like the gun rights gun owners, because they're liberal gun owners, knew the joke.
Yeah.
They were like, the joke is it's not real. You don't fire into your fence into your neighbor's yard.
Right.
But a lot of people were like, this is why we need gun control.
Oh gosh.
It's people, dude. So,
Karens.
yeah, Karens. Here we go. Big Ben Howard says, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force just came out preaching the leftist narrative about race. The ranks are now in a civil war about what he said. Leftists are winning in the military forms. The left is winning everything culturally because it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Oh, you hate to see it.
And you know what happens when they win? This is racial identitarianism. We've never seen that play out well anywhere.
Nope.
They argue it was bad when America had identitarian law, and it's going to be bad again. I'm not going to be enjoying that. Cerelios says, "Do you have any thoughts on the new trend on Facebook and Twitter of boycotting businesses that donate to Republicans? The looting and riots are in blue states. Why boycott Republican supporters?"
Because mainstream media is part of that establishment, and the Republican Party at the moment is not the establishment. It is messing their whole system up.
You need only
China has a part to do with it, I think. There's a little bit in there.
You
They're
need only look
losing.
at two stories. The story from April, where the nurse was standing in front of the car protesting.
Yeah.
And the other story is the nurses out in front of their office praising the protesters
With gloves on and gowns
with
on.
gloves on, gowns,
my
and
gosh.
masks because they understand we're in a pandemic. And that should tell you everything. That if you are a responsible business owner and you're conservative and you want your rights and you want to run your business, they will shame you, they will insult you. And if you are a leftist who wants to complain about emotional issues and racial justice, things that don't actually contribute to the well-being of the products and the resources that we need to live, they'll praise you. They'll protect you. That bias is so plainly obvious that if you're Brett Kavanaugh, they will destroy you and your family. They will try everything in their power. And if you're Joe Biden, they'll dust under the rug and say it's fake news.
Yep.
That's what we can expect to get. So I'll just I'll read a couple more because we have gone over, and so I do apologize. Let's see. Wexnip says, back in college, I asked a professor his thoughts on another American Civil War along political parties. He said it was a dumb idea. This was in 2008. I kind of hope he's right, and it's a dumb idea. I don't think it'll be along political parties necessarily, because who likes the Democrats? The far left doesn't like the Democrats.
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
I have no idea who likes the Democrats.
I think, and I've told some people this a year ago, that we would say we would see some kind of race war or racial riots or conflict emerging. But my assessment was based on the fact that we've already seen them. I'm like, it's going to get worse. Mm-hmm. And then you've got to realize what the logical conclusion is when a riot breaks out and you see what you saw in Milwaukee where they're yelling at the white people and stuff. What do you think the escalation of that is? People are only going to see race. When conflict breaks out, they're going to be like, that group I can easily see as based on their race.
Yeah.
And people start making assumptions. And that's when it gets really, really bad for this country. And I'm not going to be happy to see it.
Agreed. Yep.
Someone in the regular chat says, have you seen BLM saying police should be defunded? I got to be honest. If they were defunded to a certain degree and people took responsibility for their own well-being, like we saw with Hank Newsom patrolling, I'm kind of okay with it. You know?
Yeah. That's what I was saying before. It's like people are calling for that. Yeah, I actually brought that up. There's celebrities calling for it now. You know, like getting on there, using their platform to be like, yeah, defund the police. And it's like, well,
If it results in a stronger Second Amendment, more personal responsibility,
if people step up, like if they come up with neighborhood watches, like dope, then we won't need to have as much police. So that would be okay.
it's really amazing where there's this overlap that kind of benefits everybody.
Yeah.
Community policing is what they've been asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to have their own neighborhood watch. They're going to be defending the Second Amendment as they want to defend their communities.
Yep.
Then they're the ones responsible. So if one of these neighborhood watch guys ends up shooting an unarmed kid, there's no racial conflict.
That's true.
It's like, hey, man, you live there. You did it. You answer to the community, and they'll have to deal with it. And guess what? They will probably go easier on their own and they wouldn't riot and destroy everything over it,
Yeah.
So maybe it's a good thing. But let's read just a couple more. Mike says, with all these protests going on, lots of people seem to agree that we need to reform the police force. What is your stance on the S3063 Law Enforcement Trust and Integrity Act of 2019 that's been in Congress since last year? Unfortunately, I don't know what it is. You want to pull it up real quick?
I'll look it up.
I have no idea what that is. Yeah.
We'll pull it up real quick.
SC 103.
S3063. Outlast says, Tim, Australia loves China. They control a lot of critical infrastructure. Good work, Tim. Appreciate it. Mr. Phil says, of course, the chair force are the ones who are going lefty. Caboose Kyle says, we are 4 million packages behind at UPS in Chicago because of the riots. Oh, no.
4 million?
Wow, yeah.
That's a lot.
Tom, thanks for coming a member.
Thank you.
Samuel Irizary, he said, hi, I searched what are caustic liquids, corrosive substance, and then what is this? Peaceful protest? Why are these things emerging? Roy says, it's pretty mind-blowing that of 330 billion Americans, you only have Trump or Biden to choose from. Best regards from Norway. I got to admit, yeah. Cirilio says, check out the complete evergreen story by Benjamin Boyce. We're living their rhetoric now. Being an ally now means to be subservient to the curse. Street XDSM says, welcome to propertarianism. You are nailing it on the head. Am I really? Cool.
Propertarianism.
Yeah. I just think, people should be more responsible for themselves. They should be more willing to work hard for what they need to accomplish. Stop relying on other people so much. We can still have great communities and work together and have fun, but we got to be responsible for what we do.
Boom.
Mixed Cheese says the mayors and governors wouldn't accept a defund for the police since that is extra money from the federal government. That's why police officers have quarters. The Agi says, we need to defund Hollywood and mainstream fraud media. They're corporations who make ad money, unfortunately. So were you able to look it up?
I wasn't able to find anything about that.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well then, unfortunately for everybody, we have to go because we've gone over, and we tend to because I talk too much.
It's kind of our thing now.
Well, we have great conversations, and this is the challenge because we try to fit everything in 2 hours.
We
It's
do.
good.
I think we do.
Well, yeah, we do. We absolutely do.
For sure.
And there's a bunch of stuff we didn't get to that I wanted to do longer segments on.
Yeah, that's true.
But we do want to make sure we get to as many super chats as possible. And then, I rant too much. So please blame me if you're upset I couldn't get to you. I apologize. I do mean it.
Blame him.
I talk too
and
much.
Follow me.
I talk for 4
right.
hours every day. Now that we've been doing the show 2.5 hours, I'm like 4 hours and 10 minutes of talking a day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Dude.
Dude, I talk too much. So someone said, read V's super chat. All right. How do I find that?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know.
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I don't think I can, to be honest, because...
V spelled VEE?
Yeah. Is there a way to search or something?
YouTuber. Can you control F it?
I don't think I
I
can.
don't know. Oh,
Did it work?
I don't know.
I don't think it... Oh, V live stream. He says, V here from Romania. We met in UK with Sargon.
My dude.
Did you see the video of the Ferguson BLM organizer from November 6th claiming the organization is infiltrated by far leftists and they plan to start a civil war?
Yeah.
I didn't, but
I saw that.
You did see it.
Yeah.
You want to explain it real quick? That's it?
That's what he said.
All right.
What he said.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, it's basically what it is. He's like, I left. I couldn't even be a part of it anymore because I was watching these people infiltrate, and it wasn't the message.
It's true, man. That was Occupy Wall Street.
Yep.
That's why when Trump talks about Antifa, the media is like they've infiltrated media too.
Yeah,
100%.
of course. I'm sure they have. Yeah.
Yep. Extremists who want a revolution are manipulating good Americans who are capitalists because they want communism.
Yep.
And that's why they spread this propagandistic message of like, it just means anti-fascist. Join our ranks. And then what happens? They make you sit down, put your hands up, and gobble gobble back at them. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Okay. But I think we're about ready to kind of wrap things up. So if you haven't already, hit that like button.
Hit?
Beat. Mercilessly
Smash
beat the
it!
like button. Smash. He looked at me like I slighted you personally.
Yeah, you're supposed to
I
say
am
it at the same
offended.
time.
Adam got triggered.
Dude, I was so ready. I'm like,
Smash.
hit it? Hit the like button?
Smash that like button.
I was a little disappointed.
Oh,
in
and
you.
for those that don't
saw
know, for those that don't know, V is a YouTuber.
Yes.
So shout out to V, VEE.
He's cool.
You can search for his stuff. I believe tomorrow I will be on Louder with Crowder after our show.
Oh, snaps.
So we're going to do our show.
Snap. We got to
And-
end on timely manner.
And then I think, so the plan so far, I
Got to
believe.
do it.
Sorry.
Yeah, which means
That's
we
funny.
will. We do have a hard stop around 10 for tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be a hard stop.
But then you can all
Alright.
jump over to the Crowder stream after the
Heck
fact.
yeah.
And
it's gonna be
then
fun.
we got Friday's show, which is our jam show.
play
Oh,
music.
yeah.
So we got to, it's going to be fun rest of the week, I guess.
Good.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds great.
Hopefully the chaos subsides and we can all go back to chilling. But until this COVID nonsense, like I mean it's over, but like we're still stuck in the weird plastic mesh of whatever it was tangled up.
Yeah, yeah.
Weird.
It's a
And
mess.
their decrees of staying inside.
Except for the rioters. Yeah.
Right, right.
Well, that being said, make sure you follow me at Timcast on Instagram and Twitter. And you can follow at Adam Krigler on both as well.
Boom.
But you can also send at Adam Krigler story ideas through his pinned tweets that we use for the show.
Yep.
It's your path to getting information into the process. And we really do cover what you guys send.
Yep.
And then there's also Sour Patch Lids and her spicy
Here
memes.
in the corner. There you go. Spicy memes for your enjoyment.
Sour Patch Lids, LYDS. We do the show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Sometimes we're off because I work like an insane person, but we try our best and we put up clips throughout the day. So you can also find us on iTunes and Spotify and all the other podcast platforms. So I guess we'll see you all tomorrow. Stick around, hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, because we're going to be back tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out.
Good night.